Live from Pahrump, Nevada, the Valley of the Dirt People, it's Tech Talk Taco Tuesday with your hosts, Jimmy Lewis and Logan Tyler.
Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. This is the show where we ring bells, have special guests, and we're going to fix the sound right now. Jerry, Bernardo.
Jimmy, how are you, sir?
Yeah, get really close to your microphone. Yeah,
Jimmy, how are you, sir?
Really good. It sounds okay, right?
A little on the quiet side.
A little on the quiet side.
You just said I'm quiet? The challenge is on. It's a gauntlet. Eastwood.com in a bus.
So but we send all this back into this thing over here, right?
Yes.
So where does it come in to this one? It's this one here, and it's already maxed out.
I think it's guest.
It's guest. So there.
Yeah.
Say hi, Jerry.
Hey, how you going? What's happening?
There, that's
Matt's on top of it.
Yep.
Well, I used to know how to do all this stuff, and then I sort of started passing off the tasks, and it's amazing how quickly I forget.
Yeah.
It's like when I try to go edit a video, I don't do it. I watched you guys use your phones tonight. It was pretty spectacular. We put posts on the Instagrams or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel so bad anymore.
Yeah. It was called the disassembly of technical wizardry.
Why is this
Do you
thing
still clean your filter?
air filters?
Yeah, do you
all
still
the
clean
time.
it? Oh, okay.
I know how to do that really good. I did an air filter today. I use this water washable air filter fluid. It's from Rockwell. It's a company over in Europe. I clean my air filters with water, and they come out perfectly clean. So it's not a sponsor plug. And speaking of sponsors, this show would not be possible without the help from our sponsors tonight.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was.
I was getting a sunburn. I was getting a sunburn on my ear.
Yeah, so now
I
we're
felt
doing
like Van Gogh at a rave.
now we're working on technical difficulties here.
You just look
This-
like V-Ray.
That's it.
This is the first 5 minutes of the show every time. It's like, how do we fix the problems that we've?
Not every time.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No, you
Only
have a
Jimmy's
lot.
here.
Yeah, you have a lot of extra. You have a lot of extra time sitting over there now. I'm gonna start bringing in co-hosts because it seems like it's going pretty smooth, other than the soundboard. But back to the sponsors: Yamaha, Taco Moto, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC, Trail Tech, Fasst Company,
Harry Klinsman.
Chef 3, Victor Andrade. Que
Seat
pasó?
Seat Concepts, Bulletproof Designs, and tonight the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Gene is nice enough to, I don't know the deal you made with the aliens to have you guys brought in here to Pahrump, which is kind of like, it's sort of like getting into some of those countries that are in super lockdown crazy. To get to Pahrump is not easy. You have to go over a hill.
Yeah.
Just one flush away from Vegas.
And right. But you guys came in a spaceship, and like, are we allowed to talk about this? Or are they going to kill us?
I think my guy in the NSA said we're fine.
Okay, so they were delivered in, and Gene somehow found Jerry, and they're here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. I got a new set of shoes,
Pretty cool.
Gene will tell you about the hot shoes.
and I'm not even as needy as you would think. Actually, I'm probably more needy than you think, but like in a different way.
Princess and the Pea.
A pea in the pod.
Princess and the Pea.
Okay,
It's a
it's a thing. I don't know. It's something that's a running joke on the show that I don't understand.
Oh, Matt.
Well, it has to do with front disc rotors, like disc guards on a motorcycle. Those aluminum disc guards they put on there. I felt one once, like, and not in a good way, and then now I'm peeing a pod. So, hey, we're gonna answer questions like we usually do. So this show, Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, is we answer motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions, but every once in a while we're lucky enough to have really cool in-studio guests and the show goes completely off the rails. And that's not going to happen tonight, right?
No.
Oh,
Professional former television host Jerry and Gene Woods, the Hall of Fame founder and former Speedway racer. We are on point.
Good.
Gene,
I'm scared.
you got to be good.
Scared.
Okay, you just got to get a little closer to the
I'm scared,
microphone.
I'm
Yeah.
scared.
So you
You've
can
got the first Superbike champion watching right there, Harry Klinsman. Harry Klinsman.
Really?
Yeah, he's the first
Wow.
Superbike champion. He's in the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame also.
So let's just talk about the first Superbike, like what was it? It was 1,000 cc's.
I believe it was 1,000, and he rode for racecrafters. He could probably, chat in there, Harry. Let us know what it was.
I wonder how unrideable those motorcycles
Oh,
were.
they're evil from the stuff I saw.
Because in the old days, and this is what everybody kind of just, they think the new bikes are really powerful or more powerful. They're not. Like, they make better power and more power over longer range. But in the old days, bikes made a shit ton of power. A lot of it. Yeah. And the guys that rode these things on crappy tires with crappy brakes on bikes that didn't handle were just like all of us, nuts. Yeah.
Half the ambulances didn't even start.
But Gene, you would know. Seriously, name a few of the guys that excelled at what he just described. That sort of equipment, but they still hauled ass. Drop a few names from back in the day.
Harry Klinsman is a classic example of riding
1,000 cc's. Yeah.
KX, whatever they are, the Kawasaki Racecrafter special deal.
Yeah, Kale. And the only reason I know any of this stuff was I was lucky enough to work at Cycle World magazine for a long time, and they had an incredible archive. And I was, for the most time I was there, I was bored out of my skull because there wasn't enough work for me to do because they only had like one page a month on dirt bikes, and I was the off-road editor. And I'd sit in the library and I just go through these files and just like look at some of the stuff, there's the Kenny Roberts file and the Eddie Lawson's, the names that are really familiar. But then you dive into some, file where you race early motocross stuff where, the Europeans, the Torsten Hallmans and the guys that came over, the Lindstroms, and the guys that came over to the U.S. to teach us about motocross. And I didn't know any of this because I was just a kid, and they'd probably done a story on it 15, 20 years earlier. And I was able to look through the file and read the old, handset type on the file, and it was really cool. It's interesting, and in learning about you and the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, when I went there because Jerry forced me to. I'm not into. I'm kind of. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird.
That's what they all say when they're in college. Oh, I was experimenting. He forced me. It was kind of weird.
Yeah. Okay. So I had. How many characters do I get to talk about myself?
I don't know. You're just dominating, but it is your show, so I'm just sitting back.
No. How many characters did I get to describe myself in the thing? It's real specific. You get
characters, meaning not words. For the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame bio, it's not words. It's based on characters, which are letters. 450 characters.
Exactly,
right.
And no more.
So I had to write a little thing about myself, and I'm like, how can I do it in 400? And I know characters because I used to work at a magazine and I understand writing, and I there's paragraphs and words, and not 450 words like specifically said in the email. And I'm like kind of typing this thing, and I'm like, I have a whole show where I can just talk about myself forever.
Right.
And I have to do this now for this. And but before I did that, I actually, because I do a little research maybe.
I Googled myself.
No.
And then my mom caught me, and my sock was anyhow.
It's better than that, Jerry. I read everybody else's bios. I went through and read all the other ones to see like how it's kind of set up, and that's why I jokingly said we were talking about another friend of ours, and it's like, hey, get him to basically submit, because if you think here's the best part, if you think you're a really good motorcycle rider or you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, just call it up and put yourself in there.
Right.
And there's probably somebody here that's gonna determine your fate, and I still haven't been accepted. So
actually, it goes to 12 board members, pretty famous guys in the motorcycle industry, and they make the decision.
I think you should stop down for a second because you jumped in midstream. I'm just being honest. You should let Gene explain what the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame is and why he created it in the first place, and then what you're talking about yourself, as usual. It will seem more relevant rather.
Well, we're going to get into you later.
No. I'm saying, what is the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame?
We're going to let Gene do this for sure. So, the only way this show is possible, we always have to do the sponsor stuff. Hey, Jerry, when you were trying to buy that, that split air conditioning unit or that big screen TV, you could go on a dirt bike test and you could click through the Amazon links and you could buy it there.
Right.
And then we get a small chunk, and that helps pay for
Matt.
Well, probably the medical assistant Bob's going to need over here after he lost the Husaberg bell. But yeah, it helps us kind of keep this thing alive.
Poor Bob.
And also, we have a link that goes through to Rocky Mountain MC ATV. I got a box of cool stuff today that I needed to repair some of my many rental bikes. So click through those links, and we get a small chunk, and it's pretty cool to see that that's actually working. So back to Gene. Tell us a little bit about the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame.
Well, the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame is an industry group that we get everybody together once a year for a giant bench racing session and a little bit of an interview session. We have Larry Huffman. Last year we had Peter Starr doing the interviews, and we get Kenny Roberts and all the notables up there on stage and ask them personal questions. So it's kind of a neat deal, and that's just a portion of the show. And the rest of the time, everybody sits around, has something to eat, and just hangs out. And it's a great bench racing get together. It all evolved during COVID when everybody was like, "What are we going to do?" Well, we had 1,400 people at our first event.
Wow.
And
this is in Las Vegas.
It's in Las Vegas on Fremont Street.
So downtown Las Vegas.
It's in a place called the Notoriety Theaters. I have a go-kart track there where the Hall of Fame is located, and it's literally Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. You can't find a better location. And we all register in the go-kart track downstairs. They get their badges, and you go upstairs to the event. And it's all free. You register online, and it's a very simple thing.
Do you have the guy that you can like staple a note onto on Fremont Street? Do you have him out front?
Well, actually, the guy that says "kick me in the nuts" for $10 is out there.
Jerry, have you seen these guys yet?
I have not. I'm not allowed on Fremont Street.
Yeah. There's a dude that you can staple a note to.
Yeah.
So I mean, just getting to this event for most people would be an awesome experience. Like in a strange way, you get to see like everything.
You'll see everything. If you leave the event, you can go out on Fremont Street. Most people come for 3 or 4 days, and this is just part of their tour that they take. We get guys come over from Europe, all over the country, fly in. Aldana, you name it. Everybody in the motorcycle industry, literally.
John
all the old
DeSoto.
guys. Yeah, John DeSoto, Brad Lackey. They
Fuck
all
You
come to the
Racing
event.
Hawaii, John DeSoto,
I know.
card-carrying member.
So I've not ridden John's race over there, but like some local guys took me on the trails. I mean, you want to talk about extreme enduro?
Yeah.
Like they just call it a little hare and hound over there, but it's a freaking extreme enduro. Yeah, legend.
Been there.
Absolute legend.
In the rain, upside down on a trail backwards with Phil Overland, 6-time winner of the Mauna Kea
right.
200 Mauna Kea Enduro 2-day event. Greasy, you'll be riding along, everything's great, and then all of a sudden it rains for like 15 minutes and it turns to just red, slick ice, and you're riding along through the cane fields, and next thing you know, you're backwards, and you think you're like Doug DeMocus.
Unless you're riding on the lava rocks, and then there's 100% traction, except for if you get off of it and you crash into something, they're like razor blades.
The really sharp lava rocks is called the slang. I don't know what the rolly, more smooth one is, but I always remember that, just the shredding of the tires on the
Yeah, you had to watch
Choke
it.
full of the kind pukas already, brah.
I almost won that.
Only Dane would know what I was saying. Hawaiian Dane, the Hawaiian hunk.
I almost won that one year, but I was riding into lunch, and I was so stinking hungry that I saw they had this setup. It was on a field. It was going up to Mauna Loa, because I don't think we went up Mauna Kea that year for some environmental reasons, but you're riding on this, like, kind of, you come out of a tree section, and I remember riding across this, and it was like just grass, like mowed grass, and you just see all the tables and stuff, and you could smell it. They had a roasted pig or whatever, and I just started like, oh yeah, lunch, and it was like a 12-mile-an-hour section or something like that, and there was a one of these, and I just like that, and I was probably going like 15, rode down, check, burn it.
Burned.
I barely. I think I did 2 minutes, but I think I was close to 5. I mean, I scrubbed off a lot of stinking speed really quick, and like
smelled pork, burned a check.
Every
Not
single.
very District 37 of them, was it, Bob?
Hey,
Bob, come on, chime in from your little couch over there with the whiskey.
Every single like person in that event, except for me, knew that they did that every single year. But hey, let's look at the Howley.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, back to that. So, how do we? Okay, so when is this? That's the question.
January 28th.
January 28th. But what we're really about
It's almost
is
like stereo.
we brought you a present, but what we're really about is this right here.
I'll hold that up,
And,
and they can run the.
We
camera
do
over here.
things. We do things for the needy, and one of the things that we're doing right now is we're giving shoes away to the needy. So whoever that might be, it might be men, women, children, homeless, anybody that needs it. We're going to give them shoes.
But you gave me a shoe.
It's a
Well-
promotional shoe, but you only got one. Now you have to hop.
Oh,
You live
Jack
in,
Sparrow
What-
will
were
teach
there-
you to hop.
No, that's a second one over there.
No, you're going to need them. It's
I'm
a
gonna wear
It's a
'em.
long ways to civilization.
Amber
Where you
Heard
live.
will teach you to hop with Jack Sparrow.
No, that's a cool thing. I do some running events. I have a beer drinking club that I run with. It's kind of a crazy thing, but we often do especially once a year they do a red dress run, and everybody wears red dresses, and we run around Las Vegas and Strip, and they raise money for the battered women's shelter. But some of our runs, we actually go and we run weird places. Not like like running around tracks or things. We'll like run down the drainage culverts and stuff like that, and you give the homeless guys some batteries, and
There you go,
and
yeah.
help some
The
of these
tunnel
The
people.
underground.
yeah, some people, they're kind of down and out. They need some stuff, but yeah. So I think
That's part of our deal. It's a nonprofit. The
Yeah.
Hot Shoe Hall of Fame is a nonprofit organization. We raise money to do just good things. Motorcycle industry giving back.
right, but also celebrate the accomplishments that a lot of
That's
people in
part
the
of it is
motorcycle
getting
industry
us
have
all
done.
together.
Yeah, and it has two kind of phases, which is actually
Right.
super cool. I'm all on board. That's why I filled out that form, Jerry.
There you go.
With 439 characters or something like that.
And you nailed it. I mean, it was awesome.
I just still don't know if I'm in. Matt,
No, you're in.
Matt, I'm not
Tim
sure.
Torres says you're in. He's the IT guy. He sent me the verification. You're officially in, along with Johnny Campbell
Did Johnny
and many others.
Did Johnny have his wife fill his out, or did he write his own?
I really don't know. I think he might have done it on an
Gene's
etch a
pulling-
sketch.
I'm gonna
or-
look
I'm
here.
scared now, Jerry, because I think
I'm gonna look here.
Gene's pulling out his phone to see if he got the thing back from the board members. Because I mean, I might have
check
pissed
it
some
out.
of these guys off. I was a young punky.
No, you did a good job.
Were you faster than you used to be when you wrote your resume? The older you get, the faster you are.
Oh, you should hear some of my stories. Matt over here. So Matt's like the younger generation, and he's always amazed when I say, "Oh yeah, I did that." And it's like, yeah, I've been around for 50 some odd years. Actually, I was trying to fake my age on something that I was filling out. I'm like, shit, I'm already 50. I'm more than 53.
Cry me a river.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to answer some motorcycle related questions. Look, see people in the chat. So if you're just listening to this during the live show and on the video forms of this, there's a chat going on. And people have links to the different things. So we've got the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame link that's gone up there. There's a way to donate if you want to donate to this through PayPal.
Goes
Which
direct
is,
to PayPal. You can credit card, however you want to donate. You can do it through that link.
yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'm definitely gonna make sure I can get to that event this year. I guess it's funny because it always seems like a school weekend for me, but I can switch it up. We can probably figure something out.
And I might have missed it, but you can visit this museum at any time.
It's open. We're open 7 days a week, noon to midnight,
Okay.
and it's free.
It's in the go-kart track, but all the plaques of all the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame people are emblazoned all over the walls.
I have to come visit this weekend.
Like I
And race
told,
go-karts.
yeah, like I told you earlier. It's like I've been down there a bunch of times, and I didn't know there was a go-kart racing facility there. So, I may have had a couple cocktails or something like that, or I'm looking at something else. Like I'm
You're
still
probably looking at some other stuff.
I'm
Is
still
that what it is?
I'm still
Yeah.
fascinated. I'm still fascinated by the person you can staple notes to. Like they give you a stapler.
Enjoy pain while living.
Yeah, for
Jimmy
death
Lewis.
provides no such function. I haven't done it yet. 'cause
Let's go to Fremont Street. Oh, what? You want to get cotton candy or go to
No,
like
Jerry,
El Cortez?
have-
No, I want to staple that guy in the throat.
No, Jerry, me and you are going to go there, and we're going to take some stickers, and we're going to be nice to them, and we're going to put a sticker on them instead of stapling them. Would that be nice?
Adhesive application is far more passive than a staple to the back of the neck. Because that's close to here where your carotid artery is. I saw that in a prison movie once. It was just yesterday.
Something tells me he might enjoy being stapled if he's in Fremont doing that.
That could be their thing. I don't know. The kick in the nuts guy, that's a whole different level.
Yeah, that's a bad holiday right there for sure. Especially if CDs are involved with that little metal thing on the tip.
So George wants to know, do we get these guys the flat track? No, but we will schedule this. We'll get you guys back out. So I was, we need to take a picture of this. We need to get a picture of this, the Gene's business card,
You want me to email that to you?
which has a
I've got that
very,
picture.
email it to, email it to Matt at jimmylewisoffroad.com.
Matt with 2 T's.
Is there a Matt with 1 T?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know this.
Format.
Doormat, yeah. I used to work with that guy. Let's see. Will you be at the museum on November 26th? Well, it's open from
Yes.
12 till
I just sent that to
midnight.
Matt.
everything.
Yes, Victor Andrade,
Yes.
another member of the GTBN regime, a.k.a. Chef 3, entrepreneur extraordinaire. My boy Victor, VA, we will be there. You let me know. I'll meet you there.
Yeah, hey, so we always go back to the questions on the Instagrams. Right now we have a question from one graybeard to some other graybeards. Your thoughts on kidney belts, little low back support. You know what's funny is like, talk about a piece of gear that has just disappeared. I mean, I wore kidney belts back in the day.
Yeah.
I had the gold belt, and then I had the Kevco Stubbs
Yep,
belt.
that's the one that I wore my whole life.
Yeah, they had it was that one that all the people that were
Larry Rossler,
yeah
Kevco Stubbs.
Yeah, I met the guy who's just a dude that was cruising around at the race. He's like, hey, try this one, and it really worked because it had that extra Velcro support.
I always
thing.
had to wear a kidney belt because the day I forgot it, it kind of bothered me. It's like not wearing a bum bag. You know, you don't have your fanny pack on. It just feels weird.
Wait, you said fanny pack. I hope.
Well,
you
we
don't
got
have any...
bum bag and we got fanny pack. So we got Australia and we got the United States. So let's not fight over it because fanny might be a different word down under.
Right. I just wanted to.
I'm just
make that
saying, let's
clear.
get back to the meat and the sandwich.
Hey, we're
The kidney belt.
We're
I wore them
we're
because I
worldwide.
liked it.
Yeah,
it felt good.
Yeah, just easy,
International.
easy throwing around. Easy throwing around that fanny packing stuff.
Sorry, sorry, woke Jen. Fanny pack.
Hey,
Don't
so
get that confused. Don't
yeah,
make it
yeah.
back
So
fanny.
kidney belts. I can't believe that at my advanced age that I'm not riding with one, knowing what they did back in the day. That's
Right.
Let's start it. You know what, Jerry? We need to make bank.
Did they help?
We need to make bank here. Well, they did when I was a kid, but I think the suspension was so bad that you're just pounding hoops with horrible suspension.
Right.
But
Cross grain.
that's
Cross the valley.
kidney belt is the one thing that needs to come, that could come back. Actually, I want to try one now. I don't even know if I have one anymore. Oh well,
We have a question.
he waves his hand all the time. He's
Fishermen still wear them.
Tuna fisherman.
tuna fisherman.
What? Because I said fanny pack, you thought a tuna fisherman? So dirty. So dirty, Bob. Shame, Bob. Shame.
So, anyways, I just get
That kind of threw you off for a second.
I
When
just
can we talk about Peru? When can we talk about Gene's Chrome Ice Bike?
tonight we
When
may
can we talk about
tonight we
Espresso?
may not do Roosterendo. We might just have to go straight into talking about all the things that Jerry wants to talk about.
No, it's not that I want to. We had pre-discussed some of these unique topics that are near and dear to our hearts. Gene's Chrome Ice Bike, the
I don't-
Jawa.
I don't like to talk about myself too much, except for like maybe events that I might have won. So man, we can get into the Peru thing when we find time.
Hey, as a matter of fact, I just Googled it. You did win the Incas Rally in 1996 with Arnaldo Nicoli.
Hey, no, but I'm still fascinated by the kidney belt. Like, why don't we start a kidney belt company?
I would, if I rode, I don't think I even have one now. I just got some gear from a Cherbys. I don't have a kidney belt. I might have a kidney belt. I don't remember, but not wearing one, like right away, I know I don't have it on. So it's a need for me. I'm just so used to it's like knee braces. You have to have them on. I know Travis Pastrana has spaghetti knees. He sneezes and knocks himself out. He don't wear them. You said you don't wear knee braces anymore.
No.
But I want a kidney belt. God damn it.
Oh, don't
shit.
break the whole set. This set is
Fucking caffeine.
This set is kind of like substandard, not professional. You should.
Sometimes you have to ride a Suzuki.
Well, Travis does. Sometimes, but that's typical Travis right there. I used to use Travis in my schools, like to explain things about how the bike works and dynamics and stuff. But he ended up on the podcast, or no, it's not a podcast, in the show. He ended up on this show,
The live stream.
and on the last show, I actually took him and threw him in because he started making a bunch of noise. If you touch him the wrong way, he makes
Right.
noise, and so I had to throw him off the set.
Can I say a really quick one? Can I say a really quick one about Travis?
Right.
Pastrana?
Yes.
Okay, I interviewed Travis Pastrano when I was living in Australia. I did a over-the-phone interview or in print or whatever, and we talked about when he was 15 years old, one of the first freestyle motocross competitions, and I don't know if you know this, but he pinned his Suzuki 125, and he was trying to make a 120-foot hit, 120 foot being the sweet spot, and he came up short, and he landed, and he pogoed in so hard that he pulled his spine right out of his hips. No lie.
Yeah. No, I heard
And
about
he's
this.
only
Yeah.
1 in 3 people in the world, the doctor said, that has not been paralyzed from that. They took his spine and they pushed it back down into his hip, put screws in, and he was in a wheelchair for 3 months. Complete horror show. Lucky he didn't die and or be paralyzed. So when I interviewed him, I said, well, what did you learn on that day? And Travis, classic Travis, said, I learned that a Suzuki 125 pinned in fifth can go 115 feet. So... talk about rolling the dice with TP 199. Sorry, Mom, I'm just trying to have fun with my life.
Yeah.
Double backflip. She's over there losing it, sweating bullets as big as vanilla jelly beans. Love his mom.
Yeah, so I remember being at the very first freestyle contest in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like where he
Yeah.
showed up, and all these freestyle guys, they had like a heel clicker or a knack in the can, and they were doing their kind of runs. And he was a up and coming, just turned pro racer, and I have no idea why they showed up there or what they were doing. He raced around the course.
Yeah, he fans the clutch the whole time.
Did on the 125 did every trick that everybody else did, and raced it. And at the time, like the tricks were like I said, like knacks, cans,
Yeah.
heel clickers, no handers.
But
And
sorry to interrupt, at the X Games, he rode so fast like a motocrosser. He would just fan clutch out of the turns. Everybody else would get 11 tricks in. He would get 13, 14 because he was just blazing it on the 125. The thing was screaming, what? No sixth gear? What the hell, Travis?
yeah.
He was crazy like that.
Yeah.
But it was so much more exciting. He just didn't kind of like turn around and look and burp,
And
burp.
set up for the
Oh,
the
he
jump.
was just pinning it.
More important, he's going into the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame this year, along with you, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I'm gonna. Do I have to grease anybody up, like besides Jerry?
Depends on what you're talking about.
Okay.
Well, see, you filled out your own bio, but there's some
Money-
people like Travis. I hit him up and said, hey, we want to put you in. And it wasn't like he was too busy, but he's too busy. And so there's some people that we write their bio,
Oh.
we make the plaque, and then we just send it to them. So not everybody has to
Do the work
fill
to get
out
in.
the questionnaire. So yeah, we can take care of that.
But-
If you're lame or you're lazy or you're tired or you're asleep or you're with your mom at the mall, we'll fill it out for you.
dad.
Or your dad.
We have to do the dead guys, too.
Or
The passed away.
or get in before you die.
But the only reason you asked me to do mine because you knew I was an accomplished journalist that understood what 450 characters was.
No, I heard you were really sick.
Oh, that,
Oh,
I don't know. I haven't told anybody about that yet. But, okay.
We asked him if he wanted to be in the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, Gene, so he didn't take us riding on a half-day ride, which means 12 hours.
Yeah. So a half-day ride is 12 hours or
Right.
150 miles, whichever comes last.
Right.
But I'm kind of softening on those rules a little bit because I like to sometimes ride with my wife, and she got a new knee and a new back, so she's gonna get back into riding with me.
And
It's
you
gonna
have a
be cool.
soft stool.
Sometimes.
Okay.
So, hey, we had a question here. Do you have any thoughts on Electron carb for a 04 525 EXC? And it's Junior Clark DMC asked this question. I don't have any thoughts on it because I've never used one of those, and it's Electron, not Electron, and there's a couple different ones.
I've used them. Used to be sponsored by Electron. They have a metering rod in them.
Right, it's as opposed
Very
to a
good,
jet.
very good.
So actually so I do have experience. I don't have any experience with them on the 525 EXC, and I know why he's asking because the you can't get parts for those bikes right now. You can't get carburetors, or they're like $1,200 for a carburetor, and the Electron or there's a couple other carb companies and stuff. The Al Baker, remember that guy?
Yeah.
Al was one of my first.
Al's going in this year.
92345 Hesperia, California, where all the beautiful people live, where the meth labs run free out near the airport, back when Kiefer was still keeping his dad's leg warm.
Yeah, so
That's kind of like Tourette's when I do that. I just like pin it and then I shut up. Go ahead.
got it.
Torch has been passed.
Well, the
Jimmy.
thing is I'm trying to process all of that. But back to
So am I.
well, you said like 4 things that like okay, I know where the shop was. I know where
92345. That's Hesperia, California.
Yeah, I know where the shop was, and I know the airport because I did a shit ton of testing with the Electron carburetor on an XR600
Yeah.
back in the day.
Gateway to Honda Valley.
Right, we it worked really good, and we got a lot of power out of it running up and down the thing. But the minute you went out in the desert and started pounding some hoops, it started bogging and sputtering and spill gas and all this stuff. So, but they've come a long ways. I know this. There's a guy that actually, and here's the thing. Here's the question. There's a guy. Oh, I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of it right now. That's actually taking one of those knockoff Mikuni or Kian carburetors. He's buying a knockoff carburetor from China, and he takes it and puts Kian parts into it. So he gets the parts that you can buy and puts so all the metering parts are junk in that carburetor, and he's actually able to give you a sort of a knockoff carburetor that actually works. So that might be a better option, but I don't have any experience with that carb. I know they can work. I know they can work, but they weren't really good at the bumps, bouncing
But
around
that
with the
was-
bumps.
25 years ago, right?
When I was riding for Al, yeah.
Or more.
He was still flying planes back then. Imagine that.
I used them in like the 70s, so when they first came out.
Yeah, it was they were good. So I know they've definitely improved because I know a lot of guys are running them on their new 2-strokes and stuff. It was a big thing where guys were switching out and they liked them. So I don't have any experience with them on that particular bike. So hopefully that answers your question there. See, we're still trying to keep some format of this show.
Ask me what I did in the 70s.
What did you do in the 70s, Jerry?
Acid. I'm just kidding. I didn't ever do it.
In public?
Pool acid.
I thought it was an eye drop. It was a Visine, but the Grateful Dead. Anyhow.
Okay, do we have questions up on the chat here? There's
Yeah.
got to be some good ones.
Ice bike.
So, Gene, we're going to have you scoot a little bit closer to
okay.
the
All right.
microphone. Yeah, so if you scoot the chair up, you can't help but talk into that thing.
So
How's
Julian Roberts here is asking any recommendations for setting up a 1985 KX500 for motocross.
Sit up on the gas cap.
Okay, yeah, Jerry, you don't need to get closer to your mic. I'm actually going to
Okay.
It's- It's that one.
I've been turning it
Oh, you've been dropping them down a little bit. Yeah,
in increments.
yeah.
Gene just restored a 1987 CR500.
89. Dual sport.
You said it was 87.
Hey,
I lied.
I was
Let's fight about it.
I was riding very near Hesperia. I was actually riding from someplace from the /X to someplace else, just cutting across the desert, and I found a KX500.
Oh, I'm sorry to
probably- it
interrupt
was
you,
Rex
but
Staten's.
can we just go back for a second? I see Mike Hebert. He rides for Focky Racing. Julian Roberts. Julesa from Victoria, my buddy, action photography. I bet you $20 that's him. Chime back in, Julesa. Is that you? Just had his birthday.
And you said,
86.
and you were calling people fanny packers on this show.
He's a card carrying member of the GTBN, Julian Roberts.
Yeah. I thought we weren't going to say any bad words.
I
tonight.
didn't. That's why I said GTBN, the good team with bad name.
Right. We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
do we?
mate.
Too much?
I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
mate.
See, look, I told you, Julesa, what up, bro? Hey, gown, mate.
So KX500s, how do you set it up for motocross?
Ask Jono.
Between that and a CR500, they're trying to accomplish the same goals and same things. But I raced a KX500 for a long time at Saturday Motocross at Carlsbad. I used to go down and run the because it was we could I wake up at 7:00, drive down to Carlsbad, ride the first practice, which was muddy, and you couldn't. Where else are you gonna ride in mud in Southern California? I go get to sort of enduro training, go ride in mud, and then race 2 pro motos, 30-minute pro motos, and then go surfing in the afternoon. And the KX500 was the bike to do that on back then. This is pre 4-stroke, so it was just basically stock. The only thing I really did to it is sprayed like Crisco on the underneath the fender, so the mud would fall after the muddy practice.
Are you going to help Jules out or not? He asked a serious question.
It's
We don't want him to get hurt. He's going to KO himself out of Cruisik's Ride Park,
it's stock. If it's
where the
stock,
Brownie Mix lives on the Thunder track.
if it's stock, set the sag. Make sure the suspension has been serviced recently. Stock, set the sag, and call it good. That's how I would set it up for motocross. I wouldn't do anything else. I wouldn't try to throw it in an aluminum frame. I don't know if I would. I'm trying to think if there was any. My bike.
What about spring rate?
They were
Based
good.
on your weight.
They were good. Oh yeah, I mean yeah, for sure. You know, if your weight is what's the size, Jerry? Normal size guy?
A little bit smaller than me, a little bit lighter.
Yeah, it's fine. Just
good.
He's a good rider. No, Jules is really good. So
That-
it's a good question, and that's where he rides the most at Cruisik's Ride Park. They have like 5 different tracks, but I know he likes that Brownie Mix Loamy track with all the great turns. So
Sounds
that
fun.
would be big fun on there. But definitely dick on the gas cap, I say. Dick on the gas cap.
And this is a lot of questions. Like people go, how do I set my bike up? If you're riding a motocross bike that was set up to run, it was set up to be a motocross bike, and you're riding it in motocross, the manufacturer probably did a pretty darn good job of getting it set up for the widest amount of people. And I don't know. That's why I asked his size or weight. Is he a 400-pound dude? Is he a 120-pound guy? Then I'd say maybe you might want to do this or that. But
I say 165.
yeah, he's perfect. That's what I weighed when I raced the thing. I used to beat Willie Muskrat all the time at Carlsbad. He was Motocross Action's main guy back then.
Yeah.
Well, we'd back and forth. It just depended on who was on a better day that day. So good times.
Very cool.
Kyle McCoy. Kyle McCoy's a Dakar rider, by the way.
Speaking of Pastrano, he has knee pads he sells, EVS brand, I think, which seem to accomplish everything needed for $100. The new knee braces are $900. Would you guys choose? What would you guys choose? And are the fancy ones really worth it?
This is a very telling question, Jerry.
Do you want me to answer if I believe that good knee braces? Well, having blown out both my knees and had them operated on in soccer when I was in high school, I need all the help I can get. And when you're riding and you get caught in a rut and you have to dab and you got bad knees, you need all the help you can get. So
You're a
gonna
knee brace
ride
guy.
around with no helmet on, you're gonna get in a jam, and they'll be scooping up, scrambled eggs off the downy. So yeah, I say knee braces. It like they said, $10 head, $10 helmet. I don't know what the price is, but I would buy good knee braces myself. Whether they're the fitted CTIs or the EVS or all the other ones, I don't know. Knee braces, good stuff.
So I used to be a knee brace guy all the time, and then I switched when I started riding off road. I started going back to knee cups, and I've run the EVS Travis Pastrano ones. I had some of the original ones because they sent them to us when I worked the magazines, and they're like more of a neoprene kind of a shell. And I mean, think about a guy with jello knees that doesn't wear knee braces. It's just like anything with protection. We just answered a question on our student show thing.
Yeah.
A guy was asking about protection and what should he wear and all this stuff, and he sounded like he was wearing so much protective equipment that it was actually interfering with his ability to move around and ride on the motorcycle. And I know people that say I can't feel the bike, or I'm not able to grip. We don't really believe in gripping too much with the bike, but I know that knee braces make it kind of weird because it makes your knees a little bit wider
And it
stuff.
beats up the graphics too.
Oh God, that's horrible.
So if you don't want to have triplets, wear protection. That's what I'm saying. Unless you feel like having triplets, then good luck to you, bro.
I think the
Wax on.
with the like I said, it's just like anything with protection. Like whatever makes you feel comfortable or safe, that's a good thing to do. And then with the the knee brace specifically, it's almost like any sort of protection. It's transferring load. it's protecting a certain thing, and by getting a certain amount of protection, and that's what I think with it. Like when I put a knee cup on, knee cup's going to deflect the bad stuff, but it's not going to transfer load to places where I don't want it. And my problem, except for the asterisk knee brace that used to clip onto your boot, that twist,
Yeah.
like that's the one that gets me all the time is the twist, and the knee brace didn't fix that. And then I've had other times where I think the knee brace may have started working, but I haven't broke my legs down there yet, but I felt my bones flex a little bit, and I was like, wow, that knee brace kind of did its work. Would my knee have gone out, or my broken the leg? I don't know.
Do you feel like this is a serious question, the Murphy's Law thing?
Wait, you're going to do a serious question.
Well, I am. Do you tell me if I'll throw it out there and you tell me how serious it is.
Okay, hold your thought, because I'm going to shut down. Remember I told them when it gets good?
Yeah.
When Jerry
ahead.
has
You're going to make them go to.
when Jerry has a serious question and he's losing the train of thought, we're clipping you guys. So we'll see you on the next show, or you can switch over to our live feeds, the real ones. See ya. Okay.
The serious question. It's kind of like the Murphy's Law mentality. Do you feel like whatever you don't wear, that's when you're going to get hurt? Like, oh, I took my goggles off. Next minute, right in the eye. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't wear knee braces, you're going to catch a rock off the back of a fat, brand new Michelin S12 that's launching out things that'll look like hucked out third world babies flying through the air. You're going to get hurt. If you take something off, somebody's going to find that opening, that hole, that unprotected area, and you're going to get blasted.
Is
chest
that
protector? Like so many people, Bill Roth said it's a misnomer. Chest protector. How many people have flown off their motorcycle and landed right on their sternum? No, you always flip over and you land on your back. So back protection, chest protection, roost deflector. If you don't have it on, who wants to get peppered with sand at MX338 there, the old Wick, with just a jersey on?
Oh, it's the harder chunks from other tracks.
What's the track, the Speedway track you were talking about?
the gnarliest track for roost is Ascot Park.
Oh,
Clay.
I race Moto there all the time, but
Let
but you
Gene
go-
tell the
but-
story.
yeah.
We were sitting around we do a trail ride every year in November. It's called the Tombstone Trail Ride, and Kenny Roberts and Wayne Rainey was there last year in a side-by-side, and we were just sitting around BSing, and I asked Kenny if he ever ride a Speedway bike, and he said some stuff that wasn't very nice. And Wayne chimes in, he goes, the worst roost I've ever felt in my life was the Ascot half mile on a Speedway bike. It literally would turn you purple, even with cardboard and stuff inside your leathers. It was just gnarly. It'd slow you down 5 miles an hour if you get behind somebody. Just amazing.
What speed would that be, like top speed?
Right about 100 miles an hour on the half mile.
Getting peppered.
So
You ever been peppered, Matt? And this isn't like a MasterChef question. Have you ever been peppered? I
So-
know you're a tech guy.
Yeah, no.
Chime in anytime.
Well, no, when I'm in a figure eight and Jimmy gets in, and Jimmy hops right in front of me.
Yeah. He let
Feel
you
good.
have it.
Yeah. Well,
It's a
I
learning
remember.
experience.
I usually ram them up the rear on the
Yeah.
figure eight. But back to
Right
the
up the mud guard.
back
Right
to-
up the mud guard.
I'm not sure what kind of show this is. I might have to
You-
go.
We're talking.
You're in the middle.
Just don't bring up Jimmy's grinder account. He's kind of embarrassed about it.
Matt manages this for me, but that's all good. I heard.
As long as you shave.
So the thing
Not sponsored.
that the big question is it superstitious when you leave a piece of like safety equipment off? You know, do you is it like, oh, I have to have this, if I don't put it on I'm going to get hurt? Or this is the discussion we had with the client was, it was like, well, I don't dress for the crash because I don't feel like I'm going to crash. If I felt like I was going to crash, I wouldn't get on the motorcycle.
Right.
It's kind of a bigger picture thing. So I want to wear a certain amount of protection to feel safe, but there's times, when I definitely wear a chest protector, and there's times when I don't. And he was complaining about like overheating and getting hot, and I'm like, well, at some point that affects your performance, it affects your decision making. And so is it better to have it or not? Because maybe your equipment's causing you to crash, even though I'm protected when I do crash. Maybe. Because, like I said, it's all transferring load and
I was riding with Tommy Norton one time in this really dense place we have called Vietnam in Massachusetts, and it's just really jungly and rocky and nasty. And we were in there, and my goggles were steaming up, so I took them off, put them on backwards on my helmet. I was trying to chase him, obviously, which was a stupid thought because it's Tommy Norton, and he's just a mad dog on the 125. and I had my goggles off. I caught a branch dead center on my beak right here, and I'm so lucky it didn't slide over. True story, and poke me freaking eye out.
Yeah.
And I pulled up next to him, and he was waiting, and he's just sitting there, and I pull up next to him, shut my bike off, and he goes like this, huh? And he looks, and I just had blood running down both sides. And he goes, what the fuck did you take your goggles off for? And, obviously they were steaming up, but that age-old Murphy's Law thing.
Yeah.
Goggles off, Mother Nature. Hey, you got a spare branch for my buddy with the Hawk of New York, the big beak? Let's get him.
It's
Sammy
You
Davis
definitely-
Jr. in the woods.
you
One eye.
You definitely
That would suck.
You definitely notice it when you take something off. You like, oh well. You think if you're not going to wear it, maybe you have to. If you're going to crash, then dress for the crash. But if you're going to take your goggles off, you can't be putting your head in the bushes anymore.
Yeah.
You can't be like leaning in a little bit and
Right.
getting the
Exactly.
the stuff. But
Trying to eyeball some choir out there in frickin' Lucerne.
yeah,
Does it make you feel safer when you're all geared up, though?
me no.
No?
I can't. I just don't want to risk crashing. I mean, I want to ride tomorrow. This is what I always told people. It's like, I want to ride tomorrow. And so I don't want to do anything today to prevent me from riding tomorrow. And, I kind of, I'm lucky because I've been doing this for so long and I have I'm good at it and I have a high level and I have a good feel for it. So I kind of know, I know when I'm pushing it. And people say, do you ride to stay in shape? And unfortunately, I can't ride to stay in shape because I really don't get tired on the motorcycle. Because to get tired, I have to start using energy, and I start, when I'm pushing it, I have to push it to get tired. I have to push it to where I could crash, and I don't want to crash. So it's this
Right.
weird, it's this dynamic, and I think a lot of people probably never have that. They never get to that level of confidence that they really feel what the bike's doing. And don't get me wrong, I have some good ones.
Right.
Like
I saw you crash once.
Really?
You know what? I always say I would rather ride 100 days medium than ride one day like Travis and get hurt.
Yeah.
Then you get 100 rides. But if you, like you said, you're charging it, you're going for it, you're riding over your head, and then you wipe yourself out, write yourself off, go skidding down the rocks, smash off the end of your finger. Sometimes you have to ride a Suzuki RMX 250, a Cougar Buttes, and lose it. Show us your finger. Where'd that come from?
That's
that
the
thing,
chain of a Speedway bike.
That thing never straightens out.
This one's a little shorter here. That was a chain on an XR100 I built. It had a chain torque suppressant that I built, and it was just enough to put my finger in and catch it and cut it off when I think I put my hand down there to turn the gas on. I think the gas was off or something. And went zoop. It just did a trip through the sprocket. But
This is why emergency room nurses really don't like dirt bike riders, because you come in with your shirt half off and you broke off, and they just think, my kid's never ever going to ride a dirt bike. Well, your kid's never ever going to have a really good time, Karen, is he? Seriously, buy him a helmet, teach him how to ride.
Hey,
get him a Z50.
You know why my finger looks better than yours? The guy who put it on.
I have two of them.
Oh, you matched him?
No, it's a long story. I think this was at the green room. No.
You got it caught in the pickle slicer.
Hey, the guy.
Did you get that one, Bob? Huh? Oh, Bob, Heimlich, clear.
I told you the money that we're gonna get from that Amazon thing when you support us on Dirt Bike Test is gonna go for the ambulance ride he's gonna get out of this place. The original Hollywood boob doctor, Sid Johnson.
No. Sid was my sponsor.
Sid,
From Ventura.
Sid
Lance.
sewed this finger back together.
Sid
It was destroyed, but he was the Hollywood boob doctor, and I was racing with Lance and Brand, his kids, at the time, and he knew me, and when he saw my finger, he goes, "Oh, we just hopped in the car and took me to the hospital and sewed my finger back on," and if he hadn't, because it was cut off real low, if he hadn't done it. Like, he did it like some of the best boobs you've ever seen in Hollywood. That's how I got
Great
this finger
story
back.
about Sid Johnson. We were racing at Ventura. My teammate was a guy named Dave Sims. Got in a big old crash. Throttle stuck on the Speedway bike. His arm was stuck in the rear tire, between the fender and the push bar. The bike's laying there wide open. It literally smoke coming off his arm when they got it shut off. It burnt a section of his arm, like a 350-19, all the way to the bone. Well, Sid was there with me. He jumped in the ambulance with him, took him to the hospital, connected all the tendons back, and sewed his arm in his stomach so it would heal, and saved his arm. He would have lost his arm if Sid wasn't there.
Yeah, that's what he told me. He said
Sid's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead now, but he was a great guy.
Sid was awesome. I'm sorry I had to,
No.
So I know Lance and Brand. They were kids.
Yeah,
when
that's how I got into the whole motorcycle photo modeling. You know, I knew that Lance was getting in the magazines, and Brand was on all the quad magazines, and I had to start in quad magazines too. It's kind of like you know how you have those those dark things in your past you don't like to talk about.
What? You gotta be shitting me. With 9 minutes left in the show, you throw that out there? Talk about fishing.
9 minutes. We go a whole nother hour, Jerry. We got a whole.
Oh no! I just happened to glance at my Rolex watch.
Yeah, that you don't
that I
have.
won.
So, So I was trying to
Ice bike.
we gotta
Where's the
bring-
picture, Matt?
Do you have the ice bike picture?
I can bring it up right now.
Well, why don't you? We've been waiting. You've been dogging it. Just
So-
because you don't have an ice bike.
This is Rooster Endo.
This is what I wanted to, because this thing's just so cool. Gene, tell us about your ice bike.
This is a 1978 Jawa ice speedway bike, 500 cc's, no brakes, runs on methanol. The tracks they run in Europe are roughly a quarter mile, speeds around 80 miles an hour. The problem is when you fall off at 80 miles an hour, you hit the fence going 80 miles an hour. You don't scrub off any speed like dirt. Nowadays they have air fences in the thing, and it's pretty gnarly. You don't want to get run over. Most of the Poles and the Czechs
I
and the
think
Russians.
the reason Jerry is pushing for this so hard is he has some sort of fantasy with those spiked tires. Yes?
My question, I'll answer that in 1 second, did that come all chrome? Because I call that the all chrome ice bike, or did you set it up like that? I know the tank was chrome, correct?
No, it was actually all painted. The only thing that was chrome were basically the wheels on it, and the handlebars and a few other things.
And then Lynn Denny.
Lynn Denny did the restoration on it. We did it for a show bike, just for something for everybody to look at.
It looks so cool.
The unique thing on them is on the left handlebar next to the grip is a aluminum ball that's machined in there, and that's actually to touch the ice when you're leaning over. They lean over that far, they put the bar on the ground.
Wow.
I've seen videos of like Jeff Fredette racing. He's a big ice race guy.
Right.
And he's
Into the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame this year in 2023. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
This is European stuff. This is nothing like they do in the States.
And they get crazy traction and lean it over. And those guys, because when I'm out here on my little flat track here, which I hate to brag, Gene, but like
I hate to brag, Gene. Somebody get a post-it note.
I literally own the place.
You hear that, Matt?
Literally and figuratively.
Hates to brag.
I go into ice racing body position sometimes because I can get, when the traction's just perfect. We run knobbies here, we're a little bit off, but we run knobbies, and sometimes I'm getting that bike so low that I have to go to ice racing style, which means just
drag leg.
drag your leg because it's just getting in the way, and you can't put it in front because if it hooks up, you're gonna kill yourself. You're not gonna have a leg.
You're going to have a Pastrano knee.
Or your leg is going to be internally in part of your stomach. You don't want to have Sid sew it there.
Back
It's
to
going to be
Sid.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice Sid segue.
Yeah.
Some of those guys are government subsidized. They race for the government. Their life depends on how they perform in Russia and Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. I mean, still to this day.
Oh, still to this day,
Yeah. Well, because when I was racing enduros, we raced against like the Hungarian team, and then it was there was a Czechoslovakian team, but then it was two countries. There's the Czech and then the Slovakian team.
Right.
'Cause two different things.
Same thing, only different.
Yeah, I beat a guy in a Jawa in my first 6 days on the 350 4-stroke class. I think he probably went back to his home country since I beat him on a Honda XR250 and he was on a Jawa 350. He was probably executed.
Probably.
World's fastest slow bike rider, JimmyLewis.com. The man, the myth, legend in his own shower.
Right.
Writes his own bios, 450 characters.
But he doesn't like to brag.
But he doesn't like to brag. But he did win the 1996 Incas Rally, where me and Chris Smith were runners up. Zinga!
Hey, how come? Why did we end
Is this going to take a long time? Because, go ahead.
Gene's got to pee?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
No, I just did.
He has a colossus. he has a. Go ahead.
Why did they have us rooming together in that one room in that one city?
Porto Maldonado in the Amazon jungle.
Yes.
In the 1996 Incas Rally, Franco Acerbis came up with this. It was a made-for-TV rally, so it really wasn't. There was no GPS, no this and that. It was basically a 3-hour hair scramble in the morning, and then we'd have some weird test in the afternoon. Something that was like weird, some crazy shit.
Yeah, throw
And-
bikes on a raft and run them down rapids
Yeah,
after you raced
class
up the
3
road.
rapids, the whole deal, or like
race a
out on
donkey,
the
race a donkey around the Inca ruins.
or out on a tarmac, on all asphalt. But anyhow, me and Jimmy, throughout the course of the whole rally, we were roommates. So we get to Puerto Maldonado, which is in the Amazon jungle.
Wait. Were we roommates the whole rally, or was it just that
Yeah,
one time?
No, we were the whole time. I had ether with me, so you don't remember much of it. So anyhow, we get into this room. We go in this room.
I
and it
remember
was
this
just to
one
get-
room.
Just to get upstairs to the room, it was just like, oh God, this is like serial killer action. Open up the door, and there's a bed, a little single bed, little single bed on each side of the room.
Good,
No
there we go.
bathroom door. I go and I look in the toilet. There's no toilet seat. There's no the two, 1, 2, nothing, just porcelain, sexy. And there's a single light bulb up in the middle of nowhere. So me and Jimmy look at each other. I'm like, fuck, this place is ghetto vanilla. Go over to the window, look outside. Nothing but mini bikes, scooters, rickshaws. I was there 3 days in the jungle, and I did not see but 3 vehicles, cars, vans, whatever.
Right.
It was it was so freaking noisy. Guy would go bombing down, wife side saddle on the back with a newborn baby, no helmets on. It was like freaking crazy. The next morning, wake up, I'm like, oh, so noisy.
Wait a minute. Wait,
no.
You slept?
Well, this is what I'm getting. I'm turning it back to you because you need the limelight. I wake up in the morning, I look over, and there's Jimmy. He's got a pillow on his head like a taco, and he's just like, oh, like this. And I go, Jimmy. And he peels the thing off like he's giving birth to his ears, and he has the mask on. He's got the earplugs in, and he had the pillow over his head. It was that noisy. You had to just like climb back into the Sealy Posturepedic womb to fall asleep. I didn't even use any of the chloroform.
Oh man, I thought
Because I ran out.
Because we got in that room. I remember the beginning of the room, and we were at the corner of this town square.
Your wife just wrote that. Heather Lewis chimes in. I can imagine you two spooning. You and your sick fantasies, okay?
Hey, send her that meme you did about the XR650.
I will, Heather. I have a meme for you. So anyhow, the room.
It was on the corner.
Gene, what's spooning?
I don't know. I don't want to know.
It was on the corner of the town square, and the town must have been notified that there was motorcycle racers, and so everybody from the surrounding villages for like 20 or 30 kilometers came in with their moped, which is their main source of transportation, with their wife and children, as you said. So nothing he said is far from the truth. But what you failed to say is they decided to organize their own race around that town square that started just as the sun went down, just when it was time to like you try to remember whatever we ate and hope it didn't come back up.
Right.
Then
Out the south exit, he meant.
right, both exits with that special toilet we had, and then they started racing, and they must have had like 60 heats, and then 22 qualifiers after the heats,
But
and
they
then
let us race too, remember? Because we were riding some of them, weren't we?
I think most of the Italians were in our hotel, and they saw it, and they said they can't do that without us.
Right.
And so the next day, we went down there and raced.
Right.
I vaguely, the ether might have been part of that
But
thing
the-
at that point.
Well,
But to the best part, that
They
special
raced
test
all
on that
night
day,
long.
that we woke up in the morning and it was the day of that day's event.
That was the mud.
That was the day
slinging
it
bikes
was
across
pissing
the-
down rain, and we were sitting there waiting and waiting. We're sitting under some, building somewhere, and finally Franco goes, "Okay, we're gonna race." It kind of let up a little bit. We're gonna race 3 hours, no matter what. Bill Baroff laid out a 15-mile loop through the jungle. I was lucky enough to have an XR 600,
Oh, that
which
was a
is as
perfect
light
bike
as
for
a
that.
feather. My teammate Chris Smith had a CR 250, which is awesome. Anyhow, so we take off, and the team race concept was both guys have to cross the finish line at the same time. So basically, you're really only as good as the slowest man on the team, which was me, Chris, 6-time gold medalist at the 6 days. So it was this greasy, snotty thing. Jimmy
ISDE
and
world champion, that kid.
what?
That kid's an ISDE world champion.
Right.
You know
So-
how I know?
I'm waiting. I'm trying to finish my story.
I was on the same team as him.
All right. So Jimmy and Arnaldo Nicoli were teammates. famous enduro racer from Italy. They were winning the event, leading the event. So they left first. Me and Chris left second. And then Kevin Hines, we would have got our asses kicked, I truly believe, because Kevin Hines was supposed to team up with Scott Summers, and he didn't come. That's how I ended up with his bike. So Fred Bramlett, his mechanic, or...
No, Fred was
Right.
Scott Summers' mechanic.
Right.
So instead of
So
Scott
he-
Summers,
he
they sent
te-
Fred.
Well, Fred teamed up with Hines, but Fred got sick. So Hines, who could have whooped up on everybody, they were running hot. We went around once. There was a bridge, pallets over this muddy little thing, and you could help the other riders. It was all greasy. It turned into bottleneck hell. And I remember we went around 2.5 times, and then the guy come out of the woods, and he's like, no, it's over. We're cutting it. And me, you and Arnaldo, me and Chris Smith and Hines were the only ones to make it around 2.5 times
Right.
in 3 hours. It was that snotty. It was that greasy. It was so wet.
It was
It was pretty bad.
It was extreme enduro before there was extreme enduro kind of a thing, and I just remember like you talk about the pallets, like I thought they started us last. I thought it was a
No,
reverse starting
it
order.
was
They
the other way.
started us first.
Those-
I know because we got around it.
I
pretty
have
quick.
a picture of Matt. Sorry to cut you off, but Matt, there's a picture of us on the pallets. You'll see
Yeah.
it. You can tell. But the pallet thing, Bill Baroth told me, because so one of the guys from Chile couldn't start his bike. He had an XS 600. So I said, in Italian, I go, fammi provare, let me try. So I got on, I did the clean out thing, and I'm standing up on the pegs, and I tell him, hold the handle grip. So I'm up on the pegs, I clean it out, and I go to give it a wicked old crack. He didn't have his grips wired on. I go, boom, the grip flies out. I fall off the pallets into the water. Somehow, I don't know how,
This is
I'm in the water up to my stomach, and I got this XR 600. The tires are on the pallets, and I'm holding the gas tank, and I'm like this, and all I hear is the photographer, Dario Gradi, gish, 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 gish. Bravo, Jerry. I'm like almost drowning. The next day, Baroth tells me, he goes, hey, you know that place where I almost fell in the river under the 650? I'm like, fuck. He goes, no, we were laying it out, and I knew that was going to be a bottleneck, so I was kind of looking right, left to see if there was another little way. He goes, I went down about 15 feet, and there was about a 12-foot frickin' python anaconda in there, and I'm like, if that thing went across my frickin' leg when I was under that 650, I would have come out like a jack-in-the-box on fucking acid. Wah! Sorry.
So there were piranhas. They after we did that, they told us there were piranhas in that water.
Yeah.
Like alligators or crocodiles or something, and lots of poisonous snakes.
Moral of the story, please wire on your grips.
Yeah.
Right, Bob?
It's just like Travis said. It was 115 feet.
Right.
Yeah.
You can see the trophy
At the Hot Shoe
at the
Hall
Hot
of
Shoe Hall of
Fame.
Fame.
Only
The Great
second
Incas Rally.
overall,
Think?
because Jimmy and Arnaldo Nicoli won the event. Wasn't Nicoli's bike about to blow up on the last day, though? He was leaking oil on the last test.
Well, we fixed that. It was I don't know what we did, but it was
But if it
it was a
blew
husky.
up-
It was a husky 350. Well, our interesting thing. So they wanted to have some kind of like it was made for TV. So they wanted to have some guys that were like notable. I was just a magazine editor at the time. I didn't really have that good of a racing resume. But they tried to throw a pickle into every team, and our pickle was Arnaldo was a Italian national champion enduro rider.
Right.
I had maybe won a desert race or something. No English, Arnaldo. No English. His only English word was die, die, which he was telling me I needed to die, right? Or go faster, or you're going to die.
Or it was something in Bergamasco, which is a really difficult Italian sort of
it means go.
dialogue.
It means die.
Oh, die. Vi with a V. Vi.
No,
vi,
he said
vi,
die.
vi.
He said die.
Well, that could be Bergamasco. I don't know. But Vi is go.
Yeah, Vi. So it was die, and he would. That's all he ever said to me. I think that was the only time we ever communicated. He started doing that, and then I realized that this man probably for sport like tore the heads off of cats.
Did you find
in between training?
Is this it right here?
Yeah,
that's,
that was the greasy bridge. That's me holding, helping Chris Smith with his CR 250. Chris Smith on the left taking off his coat. A couple of the guys, I think that's the Chilean enduro champion right behind me. And that's where I fell off. Past us on the other side is where I fell off in the murky abyss of death. And it was just yucky like a Willy Wonka toilet from hell. I almost freaking died and drowned. I was like a Natalie Wood baby.
And those things were running. They were probably like what 6-8 inches deep when they weren't running, but they were 3 and 4 feet. Like when you went in, you were like waist deep.
No,
neck.
I was at least to my belly.
Yeah.
Because I remember I don't know how I ended up, but I had my hands on my head holding the bike, and only the tires were on the pallet thing, and it was. I'm not a big fan of water anyhow. So drowning, and burning to death at the same time in a helicopter crash, please don't sign me up.
So because now I remember, I thought maybe we started in the back because we rode we got around the first loop pretty good.
Right, because there was no bottleneck.
There was no bottlenecks. We rode through it, and I just remember bottlenecks and I remember starting a lot of guys' bikes and helping them ride. It was just like, because they get onto there was a place where we clipped our bikes. Didn't we clip them and swing them across?
No, there was 2 places to cross a river. The one that was just on that picture was like on the top of the water. The second one was trees, say 3 trees fallen over about a 15, 12-foot little creek thing, and they had a little bit of one rope on one side, because I remember that was the only time I had to have Chris ride my bike, and you had one guy in front of the bike, and you had to baby it, and it was greasy and slippery.
It was
like
slippery.
3 telephone poles with one rope, and we got to the other side, and then there was the embankment that was wet as shit.
Yeah.
It went kind of up, and he goes, here, just give me your bike, and he got it up there, but. Yeah, it was pretty tech. It was 3 hours of grease. And then that same day was the day later on the sun came out, and that's when we went to the airport and did the on the bitumen, on the asphalt through the cones. That was the second test in the afternoon.
I wish you hadn't used so much ether on me so I could remember more of these things.
Victor Andrade wanted to know who was the big spoon, and that's just bullshit, because there was no spooning, even though it was a foreign country, and it's over 7 years, so what's that when after 7 years you can't get in trouble anymore?
Statute.
Yeah, the
Limitation,
statute. Statute thing.
I don't remember any of it, so we're good. I'm positive.
Well,
No, I mean, not that kind of
How many-
positive. but
Are
I'm
you tired of
positive.
hearing that?
How many concussions have you had? I've had 6. How many concussions do you believe you've had?
Believe?
Believe.
I want to say I've had, I think 4 that were probably kind of
Significant.
like legit. But I think that I don't think I really knew what a concussion was until I had a really bad one, and then I thought bad. Oh yeah, I had maybe.
How about you, Gino? How many do you believe you've had?
Well, I
Seriously.
probably had 4, but I had one. I was in a coma for 5 days. So I literally crashed, got up, went in the pits, was changing my tear-offs, and I told my mechanic, I said, Mike, man, I can't see. And it just went to black. That was a Friday night. I woke up Wednesday in the hospital. Yeah.
Wow, I don't think I've had any of those.
That was
I
one of the
broke a
scariest
helmet.
things I've
I
ever
crashed in the second turn at REM and put myself out like lights out. I snapped my awry, cracked it right here. Kyle, my stepson from California, was there. He went to the races with me. I was lying down. I was out for 4 minutes. He goes, "You were snoring in and out."
Yeah.
And then the next week, I went back to go racing, which was smart because I had a bad concussion. And the paramedic dude was like, "Dude, I was so ready to tube you." Because I think after like 4 minutes or whatever, they got to tube you or do something. So he's like looking at me, and he's like got his equipment. I just wanted the good-looking Ambo girl to cut my pants off, even though I hurt my arm. But
You wanted to tube her.
yeah, I did want to tube her.
Okay.
I did want to tube her.
Yeah.
In a loving, tender way, and then have triplets, so my life will be shit.
You're funny.
Hey, we like to take a break about an hour in. We have to throw a little commercial break in here.
Go ahead.
We're gonna give you a chance to breathe.
Oh, I don't need
and
air.
I'm-
I just lay in bed and wait for the next day to show up.
And I'm gonna think of some more cool stories to tell about myself, and then we're gonna prep Gene for his next segment.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, we're gonna take a little commercial break, and we will see you on the backside.
GTBN for life.
Living in the back room, sneaking through the back door. Never gonna get me, never gonna get me.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you'll know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto Co. branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it, to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, and ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
Since 2009, Seat Concepts has been dedicated to making the best aftermarket seats. More comfort, more grip, more riding. For 10 years, we've continued to raise the bar. Innovation and American craftsmanship make Seat Concepts the world-leading manufacturer of power sports seats.
Welcome back to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. My name's Jerry Bernardo with my good friend Gene Woods, the Hall of Fame founder and former Speedway champion. He has 3 championships in Speedway, and I asked him one day, Gene, how many championships have you won? All of them. All of them.
No, that's Mike Frio won all of them, if you ask
Flying
me.
Mike Faria, number 9.
Yeah.
Legend.
That's his answer. How many races you won, Frio?
How
all
many
of them.
championships? All of them.
Yeah.
And, of course, Jimmy Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, the world's fastest slow bike rider, dare to keep kids on dirt bikes.
How old is this shirt?
That shirt, not just because it's old and gray, but seriously, that shirt, I made that shirt in excess of 25 years. Cato, Mark Correa, Cato, everybody loves Cato, has the biggest collection of FAQ Racing t-shirts. One time he gave me the box, and we took pictures of all of me. He has at least 50 FAQ shirts, because FAQ Racing has been in effect for 35 years. 1986, R.I.P. Frankie B.
And that's the good team with the bad name.
That's
If you can't say that on a podium, if you're a kid
Yep.
and you have if Karen's your mom and she says you can't say this anymore.
Yeah, well, I'll just tell you why we thought of that, because I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. New England Ripper Johnny Gerard, JG 69, who was on the trophy team last year. Kid's fast as shit. He was up on the podium at a J Day, and he was thanking his sponsors, and he said, blah, 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 thank Fuck You Racing. And I heard people kind of giggle because, it's a controversial name, whatever, get over it. And I hit him up, and I said, hey, Johnny, you don't have to say Fuck You Racing, because we don't care. We know who we are. We're not virtue signaling. We're not looking for likes, any of this stuff. I go, just say the good team with the bad name. And that was the day I came up with that moniker. And then we sponsored a U.S. ISDE club team 2 years in a row. And the first year, of course, the AMA guys, my best friends in the whole world, they said that Fuck You Racing wasn't going to flush. And I'm like, duh, full Homer Simpson, duh. And they go, do you have another name? I could just call it GTBN. They're like, oh, what's that? Like I was trying to slip in a fast one. I'm like, good team with a bad name. Because in theory, yes, long time ago, that was kind of an aggressive name back in the early 1986 Masshole land crap in Bellingham. But we got a lot of guys that are fast and have championships, and they do the right thing. We're just not out there running amok and
All you have to do
having
is
the sex with trophy girls.
all you have to do is run a sticker.
Yeah, that's
Allegedly.
it. Anybody can be in Fuck You Racing. Just, if you want to be in, get a sticker, put it on your bike. I don't care what you do after that. Just don't be a douchebag.
Hey, Jerry, let Gene talk.
You make the coolest apparel of anybody I've seen. It's just, all the designs they're neat. Everybody wants them, and it's a limited deal, right?
No, it's cool. Chip Wilcox, who's number 3 at Fuck You Racing, coined the phrase, get yours before you can't get yours, because we've never made more than 75 of anything. And then when it's gone, like, oh, you're going to make that John Wayne shirt again. I'm like, bro, we don't go backwards.
I've got that one.
When you ride dirt bikes, you
me
go
too.
that way. So yeah, we might reprint a few things here and there because we're not happy till you're not happy.
He's got some low, tell him what you do. What you do.
I do monologues.
Don't
I'm a people person. I eat Mexican food.
No, pizzas. Pepperoni pizzas done
well
right.
done thin
Mexican
crust
today.
pepperoni pizza. Last night I made chicken salt and boca.
How much would you? He'd love K7.
Oh yeah.
Like we got a pizza place here, and Patty she does a pepperoni. I do pepperoni and bell peppers.
I just got in trouble I've never been in Facebook jail, and no lie, I swear to God. I posted this thing and I was just talking about if you don't cook a pizza well done so the cheese turns brown, you should be burned at the stake while Satan sits back and laughs drinking sunscreen or something. The burned at the stake got in the algorithm and Facebook sent me a Jerry. No, we took that down. I'm just like, so you guys don't like pizza? Hit the road, Wendy.
So back to what we were trying to get at there, Gene. Thank you. Jerry also does design work, and he's designed a bunch of stuff for me for Jimmy Lewis Off-Road Training, which is the school that I run. I have an off-road school. We don't like to talk about the things that I do on the show because we try to keep it like undercover. But I'm telling everybody what you do.
That's all right.
And so if
earn a crust, make money.
If you need to help Jerry get more pizzas or make another batch of T-shirts, because you got to buy those damn shirts and they're expensive.
I think Matt has one of his designs on the computer that he did for the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. There it is.
Oh.
Okay, cool. This is a picture of Gene Woods with the dual eye-port bell, which is a very unique helmet, which I think is the meat and the sandwich of this design. That's from the On Any Sunday 2 poster. And I said, hey, do you have one of those posters? He goes, oh, I got one in a frame in my office. So I took it out of the frame, took a picture of it with my iPhone, and worked the magic and, sniffed the glue as it is and came up with that. And that... We went to an event. Where did we go? Kelly Inman's track down at City of Industry, the Connor Penhall Memorial
for
Bruce Penhall, and that was one of the more popular shirts. And I'm not saying that because I designed it. I love it. I think it's great. I'd wear that every day. But people were really digging it, and I think Gene Wicked at Sideways. That helmet's cool as hell.
That's just super clean. I mean, that's the design. Like I send. When I'd send you designs, I'm not a designer. I'm horrible at it or something like that. I just kind of say, hey, I kind of want this, and I want it to be like kind of simple or clean, and bang. Yeah. And then remember, I started going a little crazy on one. I don't remember what it was, but we were talking back and forth, and you just like were straightforward with me, like, dude, you're going too nuts on that design. Let's just leave it the way it is. Yeah. And now if I go back and I at the time I was looking at it, I kind of wanted what I wanted, but then you showed me what was right.
Yeah. It's like being at a toga party. Simple and clean is the best. Nobody likes a dirty toga. You're over-designing. Like, just because Photoshop and Illustrator have lots of bells and whistles, it's like going down every aisle in the supermarket. You don't cook from every single aisle. You got to make it nice. It has to look good. It can't be coagulated. There has to be negative space. It has to pop. It's called a scroll stopper. So when people are on their phones, they're like, yeah. Ooh, bikini model. Yeah, pizza. Yeah. Oh, that design's cool. Scroll stopper, Gene.
It's not just the fuck you stuff that you do. You do stuff for Moto America, which is probably one of the most prestigious race organizations in the motorcycle industry, So that says something for your ability there.
Yeah, well, me and Tim Beaumont, who does a lot of Hot Shoe Hall of Fame stuff, a great artist from the UK, we go under the moniker of Itchy Sky, which is a little trick name there.
I haven't seen that yet.
So, yeah, my buddy Nick Knoll works at the shop, Anchored Prints in Anaheim, and they crank out like 50,000 shirts a week. And he's the art director down there. He got us the job submitting artwork for Moto America swag. Sorry, Matt, I don't have any pictures with me. It's all about Gene and Jimmy Lewis. But, yeah.
No, it's about Jerry.
I drank crayon juice when I was a kid.
Dave Scott says, fuck you, Iowa here.
That's it, 42 chapters of the club.
I'm Nevada,
yeah.
And everybody goes, how do I get one of those stickers? And like the stickers were delivered to me, and I'm the possessor of the stickers. And everybody goes, how do I get one? You have to ride with me.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, you have to earn it.
Or it's on places that earned having that sticker stuck on the window. I mean, like there's few and far. I don't just stick them like cordwood.
Right.
It's an honor, and you can ride with me at any point, any time, and if you just know about it, you can get the sticker.
Yeah.
So I might have to give you one, because you rode with me today.
Yep.
I walked with you.
It's ride, Gene.
Oh,
Come on,
shit.
don't you want to ride? I want to. This picture, Matt. Do we have this picture?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
This is a great picture.
So this is one of the all-time pictures. Probably I want to say in the cult motorcycle world could be possibly one of the most pirated pictures out there, because I know 3 or 4 designers that have done stuff with Jerry. Did you know Gene when you
Yes.
You knew him?
I've known Gene 35 years, and when I first saw that picture, I'm like, oh, dude, I got to make I did a version of the shirt you're wearing. I don't have the image, but I used that of Gene, and Gene will tell you the history of this.
So tell this story.
Dare to keep, to keep kids on dirt bikes with Gino. My little sister Kristen redrew it, because she's quite great artist as it is, and she redrew it, and then I made a t-shirt out of it. But this picture is great because it's everything cool about kids and motorcycles. But how did this transpire, Gene?
El Toro Speedway in Orange County, 1964. My brother Rick, 10 years older than me, was racing ACA short track there. You've probably heard of Wes Cooley. Wes Cooley Sr. was the promoter. They raced that night, and I had my homemade mini bike in the back of my brother's truck, and he unloaded it, and I went out and burned some laps in the parking lot, and a guy named Bobby Krebs was there and took this picture, and that's, I've just had it forever, and I put it on the internet, I don't know, 15 years ago or something, and then they started stealing it.
They had the internet back then?
Yeah, I think so.
How old were you in that picture?
I was about 6 or 7, so it's about 64, 65.
But what's the cool thing? Not only like the style, but the sneakers and everything.
Can I tell you something really cool about the sneakers? This picture hung in Vans Tennis Shoes office. Oh. Those are Vans tennis shoes.
But here's the thing, like Jimmy said, when you look at that picture, not just because he's a kid, it makes you want to ride. Look at the smile. You can't fake that stuff. No offense to the emergency room nurses of the world, but all right, the kid don't have a helmet on, no equipment. Yeah, he's having fun. Look at it.
The best time of your life, right?
So when Gene walked in tonight and we talked, we were just kind of talking, and this is the first time I met Gene, and fascinated. We know so many people in common. Like, I mean, how crazy that we both know Sid Johnson.
Right.
I mean, it's just out of the weird world of all this stuff. But so I've seen this photo many, many times. I've seen it on T-shirts, on hats, in stickers, and all different kinds of things. And I didn't know. I had no idea. Somebody had told me it was you. I mean, I'm sure somebody said, no, that's Gene Woods. Somebody that knew. But Gene handed me his business card, which is I have in my hand right here, has that picture on there. And I haven't looked at, now I want to look at the other side because there's other stuff there. And I looked at it and I said, is that you? That's I've seen that pirated a bunch of times. But the thing about this photo, and every time, like on Jerry's shirt, because I've seen it on Jerry's shirt and I've seen it different things, every time I see this makes me want to ride.
Yeah,
exactly. And every time I get on a motorcycle, I have this feeling. It's like I imagine. Well, I know because I'm an addict of motorcycles. Right. It's like this. It's like this.
I recognize that sound.
Yeah, this photo is everything about dirt biking. When you bring it up and you look at it, it's just like you hopped on a dirt bike. You couldn't even be bothered whether you had a helmet or not at the time to put it on. You're just gonna go ride.
Yeah.
And
the minute you got out of the stands, you were headed for the truck because you knew the bike was there and you were just frothing at the bit. Get that, Julesa? Frothing.
That's all I wanted to do.
I have
bike,
this
a little story. This bike, we lived on Pacific Coast Highway in Sunset Beach, and I had a little short track that literally ran parallel with Pacific Coast Highway. I mean, I'm talking cars coming head on at me 10 feet from me, and I would just burn laps all day long. That's all I wanted to do.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
I have this, but it's kind of cool to finally sit next to the guy in this photo because I have this shirt someplace, and it's like I kind of just have piles and piles of shirts, and they just kind of go through, and I have certain ones like my "Fuck You" shirts they're not as organized as Cato. He's probably he's got that little bit of
He makes his sisters iron them.
Right, it's pretty organized, I'm sure, but like I go through and I have my cool shirts, and it's in there. It's a shirt I'll never wear when I'm painting or doing work.
Right.
I want it to last, like this one. It's like I wear this when I want to show somebody something cool. And that's the thing.
It's a conversation piece.
I have this shirt. I would have worn this shirt tonight had I known better, but I don't know better.
The goal of designing any shirt, be it a fuck you shirt or any design, is say you own 7 shirts and you do your laundry and you lay them all out and you're like, okay, I got a clean shirt for every day.
No, you take them out and you throw them. I'll show you my thing. I take them out of my dryer and I throw them right across the hallway into this room that's all motorcycle gear and T-shirts.
My point is, when you have 7 shirts laid out, I want to design a shirt that's the one you want to wear first. You know what I mean? They're all clean, and whether you're going somewhere or not. You're not cooking spaghetti bolognese. You go in and go, I'm wearing that shirt.
Or you
first.
want to save it. Or you want to save it for that special
What about this one? Wait a
occasion.
second. Hang on.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Hang on. Oh, shit, my thong.
Your thong.
Don't. Your bingo wings are showing.
There we go. Yeah. Hey.
Bingo wings. I got a fucking bingo wing for you, buddy. Touche, Gino. Touche. Wait a sec. On camera fist bump.
Yeah.
This show's an hour long.
No, it's 2 hours.
I thought it was an hour long show.
No, it's 2.
Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
We usually we usually do this thing called Rooster Endo, which we're gonna have to get you back out here just so we can do a Rooster Endo with you, because I'm scared to death how awesome it would be.
But I live far away.
Well, the aliens, they have that teleporting shit that you went through, and you thought the ether. I thought the ether was good. How was the stuff they gave you?
My buddy Seth Poe is scared of aliens.
Uh-oh.
I name dropped
Michelle's
Seth Poe.
watching. Michelle's watching.
Hey, Jerry.
So, he's got Iowa. Oh no, that's the same guy.
Dave Scott, yep.
He's got 2 chapters, or a different guy.
No, that's the same guy. That the thing hasn't scrolled. But we have people in 42 states in the United States, and we have 6 countries.
What states do we need? What other states?
You know what we don't have? We need a fuck you representation in Louisiana.
Louisiana.
I know a girl from Louisiana, but she doesn't ride motorcycles, and I don't think her boyfriend wants me to get her in fuck you.
Okay,
I
so
won't go into
if you're out there in Louisiana world,
in the bayou,
just reach out
and
to
you ride
Fuck You
dirt
Racing.
bikes.
Say I ride in the swamps. Yeah, just send Fuck
or
You Racing a thing.
you put your CZ 250 on a hoverboat and cruise around and kill alligators. That would be cool.
What if it's a CR 500?
Gene, tell them about your CR
I'm gonna
500.
show
The
him a picture, 'cause you can't-
1989
I gotta show you a
CR
picture of
500.
this thing.
Hey, I'm coming into town to visit you. I don't really go into Vegas much, but I'm going to come in and I want to see some of this stuff that you've got. Do you have more bikes than me?
No,
Oh, he doesn't.
no.
But his are nice.
He has some
Oh, it's
collector's
dual
bikes.
sported.
It's a dual sport CR500.
We have this segment that we usually do right now that I'm sure there's probably 6 people that submitted bikes tonight, and they're so antsy because they could be competing for a $100 gift certificate from Taco Moto. But we're not going to do that tonight because we're going to save
Don't
Taco.
lay the blame on us.
We're going to save Taco Mike. No, we're going to have you can submit that bike because
Can I submit my 71 Norton Commando?
No, it has to be a
what's
dirt
the,
bike.
what's
Dirt
the
bike?
what's the rules for how many
rule?
bikes you can submit?
It has
You
to be
can
a dirt
submit
bike.
You can submit as many as you want, but you can only win once.
You can only win once. Okay. Because I just saw that bike. I just glanced at it.
Just like prom night,
What
you
was
can
that?
only win
Hold on.
once.
What was that?
It was really
You can
good
look it up.
tequila.
Oh, Jimmy.
It's not that good, but it was really good.
Zamboni.
Wait a second. Jimmy spilled tequila. Salamanca.
Hold on, I can just snort it right off
That's
the
not
table
Breaking Bad. Jimmy spills tequila. That's Breaking Sad.
here. I just glanced at that bike. Gene showed me that thing on the screen right now, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty sweet. That thing would win. Except, here's the problem. This is what we do when we do Rooster Endo is we look at a lot of different things. We take a lot into consideration. Almost knocked it over again. There's still a little bit left. Hold on. A CR500 dual sport bike is probably not the best idea.
Well, no.
Tell him why when Kenny Roberts roosted you at the Tombstone Trail Ride. Tell him about
yeah,
damn Kenny.
So there's a trail ride in November. It's called Tombstone Trail Ride, and a friend of mine puts it on. And we take off, and I want to ride in the front where there's no dust, so I ride with Terry, and he's got an old XR600. And we're just kind of cruising along
Best
the road.
bike ever unless it's on top of your head in an Amazon jungle.
I know.
Exactly.
You're going to have to listen to the
We
first
get
part of
this
the
big
show.
right-hand sweeper, and we're just kind of cruising along, our feet on the pegs. And all of a sudden, here comes this, I don't know what the hell it is, on an adventure bike, completely sideways, roosts me, and then takes off down the road. It was Kenny Roberts.
On a Tenere 700.
Yeah, it was whatever the
Right.
Yamaha's big adventure
So then,
bike is.
at that moment,
1200.
At that moment, Gene says, "I'm
not
going to get
gonna
a
do that to me
CR
again."
500. I'm going to get a plate on it, and it's going down, bro. You know,
So I think
Hatfield versus McCoy.
Do you still
number
talk,
3
do you
against
still talk
Kenny.
to Kenny regularly?
Yeah.
Okay, so through my Cycle World contacts and different times, I used to get to go out to dinner with him every once in a while. He used to like to go to this place called Golden Truffle, which was down in Newport Beach.
It's owned by a gay guy.
Alan-
Actually, short story. I own
He catered our wedding,
my
my wife's
I
wedding.
own Fuel Safe, and he used to come in, and we made for his Odysseys that he was racing. We made the fuel cells for his Odyssey.
So
Guy that owned Golden
I think it was is the guy that owned Golden Truffle, Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alan, for some reason, really liked me. Maybe who
I
knows
just
why.
told you why.
Matt, put that on the grind. Check him on the Grinder account. No.
Sometimes you got to ride a Suzuki.
So I used to get to go hang out and go eat dinner with that guy. And he found out about our XR 100 racing, our Supercross backyard Supercross stuff. And they had all their XR 100 flat track and stuff. And they were using Frank Nye, the science guy, the engines only guy down there. Yeah. And he had heard that there was these guys in Southern California that had engines that were faster than Frank's. And so Kenny invited me up to his ranch to go do a race, short track, but also we had a little moto track for the mini bikes and stuff. And he invited our whole group up there, and he wanted us to come up there and race with him. Claiming rule.
Oh, really?
There was a claim. All of a sudden, there's this claiming rule thing, and I'd heard about claiming rules before, but like did a little investigation because he was really, really adamant about making sure we understood that there was a claiming rule. Because they basically wanted to buy our motors because they heard that there was motors faster than the other guys.
Right.
So, yeah, good Kenny Roberts.
I got a quick question here from Victor Andrade. He said, "Come on, Jimmy, CR 500 with an oversized rear sprocket on it made me think of the Fink Desert Race bikes back in the day. My good buddy from Outback Motorcycle Adventures, Michael Vroom, a former Fink Desert Race winner in Alice Springs, Australia. Back in the day, guys like him and Rick Hall, 1536. Explain how fast you would go on a CR 500 if you had 1536. The rear sprocket's like this big. It looks like a freaking chocolate chip cookie.
Well, I hate to talk about stuff I've done in the past, but
wait, don't segue into you. 1536 on a CR 500.
So I did a
That's
test.
about 184 miles an hour.
I did a test with Dirt Bike Magazine. This is back when I was an intern, allegedly. And Ron Lawson wanted to do the fastest dirt bike story. And it was kind of before Ron's time, they'd done this story. And Rod Bush on a KTM 500 maybe at the time, like set the dirt bike land speed record thing or whatever. It was out of Del Mirage dry lake bed. And so Ron wanted to recreate this story. And I remember going out there, and I was the test rider at the time. So it had all these big 500s and KTM 540 at the time, the 540 MXC. And Tom Moen was out there, and he's basically stripping plastic off this bike to make it go faster because it was all aero at the time. But the gearing, you're talking about like 15. So 15 was what the sprockets were on all those bikes, and they were going down to like I think the smallest you could go in the KTM was like 41 or 42 before it started running on the hub.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you can do a 36. That
They
might
did,
be,
but they had to shave something off. I don't
Okay,
remember, but
so-
they had to shave something off because the rear sprocket
this
was
is
so
why
bad.
this is why you listen to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday because
Roomy saved me.
So how
we
I
fast-
forgot.
we know the shit.
How fast did you go with that gear with the 1541?
We were kind of stuck at around I
108
don't
miles an hour.
No, we were up in the 115s, 117s, and we started running. It was basically became a traction problem,
Right.
because we go back and look in the dry lake bed, and you could see where the knobby and you could see where it had slipped.
Right.
So
Right.
all of a sudden you get to a point where you're pushing, and if I rode on the exact same track, it'd go slower, so I'd move over a little bit and get a little bit better speed.
bike, yeah.
And if the wind was blowing just a little bit, it could affect it however much the speed of the wind was. And it was we were trying to do something stupid, but it made for a good cover line.
Right.
Fastest dirt bike ever.
Guy wants to know how to register it, right?
Michael Perry, hello. I just want you to know I'm staring at all of you intensely while sat on the toilet having a huge poo. Hey, Mike. That's your problem.
Yeah, not ours. But hey, enjoy
Golden truffle.
enjoy Tech Talk Taco Tuesday any way you can, because it's never going to get any better.
Don't
It's just-
push, you'll blow a
So wait,
gasket.
your friend wants to know how to register a CR500.
Yeah, scroll it back up there. See, we got
So-
other expert advice here.
I'll let you tell it because I can't remember the name of the shop. That you go there and they handle all the paperwork for you. They do
Oh,
they do
Sportsman Cycle.
Sportsman Cycle in Las
Oh,
Vegas.
they still do that.
Yeah, they actually can fill out all the paperwork for you to take
Right.
the DMV and register.
You make sure it's legal. You make sure you have your lights and stuff.
What
Yeah.
estate is it plated
So
in?
Sportsman Cycle,
Nevada.
yeah, back from when Daryl was running, back when the Folkses were running, Daryl was running, and he did a couple bikes for me. But it was, they're dealing with a guy. He made sure my stuff was legit.
Oh no, everything they put on there is correct. It has a horn. It's got a high and low beam. It's got turn indicators, stop
Yeah.
lights, you name it.
How is it when you're dual sporting? Like, I mean, riding on the road.
He just finished putting
Just-
it
yeah, I
together.
haven't-
he
I haven't
hasn't
even
ridden it
ridden
yet.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He
They
just
put
finished
DOT
rebuilding
tires
it.
on it, so probably not very good.
Oh, you need to run some Kenda Parker DTs.
What are the ones you had on your bike today that the compound was super soft?
I think it was
Not
on,
like
the,
I was
on the
looking for
350.
Is this top secret or something?
Allegedly, that's something else that I'm not talking. It's just something I'm testing, kind of whatever.
If we
Super
named it
soft.
Jimmy Lewis tire, would you talk about it?
If I were
The
selling
pause
it,
is the answer.
if I were selling it and making the money that they'll probably make on that, yeah, for sure. But no, it's just part of what my job is, But if you want a really good DOT knobby, especially for the conditions out here, Kenda Parker DT. And I'm not saying that because Kenda does help and support my schools. I'm saying that because they're actually really good
It's a
DOT
good tire on the
tires.
dirt.
And
We don't ride on the pavement hardly at all. You
yeah,
know that. It's just-
neither do I. I just do burnouts on the pavement a little bit here and there. Chris Reel had a question earlier about a moose or something. Did you see that? Front fender turned sideways. He was talking about the.
Do you know what's cool about leftover
So Chris
mooses?
probably was involved in the shootout before I was a long time ago.
You know what's cool about leftover mooses when you're done with them and they're no good? You can cut them up and you can make black licorice flavored balloon animals that make children cry. I know, I've done it. Believe me.
Do you need some more? Or you think about getting into this line?
No, because I almost got
In trouble?
I got in a bit of a jam for it because, when you make orphans cry with balloon animals that are licorice flavored.
The van was running out of registration at that point.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Cuffed and stuffed.
What was the other Chris Reel question? My friend wants to know about using moose tubes for extreme trail riding. What are the differences in feel of the brands? A bike is a KTM 300. That's the best bike
Expert level rider.
ever. Expert level rider. A lot of that's a big question, but we'll get to it. So mooses, each one has a different feel. I think there's maybe 5% of the riders in the world that would know the difference between the different feels. You can tell. Some are a little bit more springy. Some have a more dead feel. Some are horrible, depending on the things. But the name brands you've heard of are all good. The mooses break in. So in other words, when you put one in, if you're just doing extreme trail riding, if you have a lot of money, buy the softer ones, the ones that are rated at lower pressures, because they start out lower pressures and they work better and then they wear out quicker. If you're on a budget, buy the ones that are rated at higher pressures and they last longer. They're not as good for the extreme enduro in the beginning, but they'll wear themselves down. And if it's too stiff when you buy it, give it to your buddy that's going to ride a dual sport ride, have him run it once, and then take it back from him and put it in your thing, and you'll still get double the soft life than you would on the plushy one.
Now,
Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, solving your problems, ladies and gentlemen.
do you worry about the sidewall flex on a enduro bike like you would, like a dirt track bike or speedway bike? You're looking at how the tire flexes and everything else. It controls a lot of your forward bite.
Absolutely. You saw what I was doing today.
Yeah.
When I was playing around in the figure eight, just kind of I'm riding around. I'm just trying to see the behavior of the tire, the way that the tire's working and flexing, and there's, especially with knobs, there's knobs and then there's carcass.
Right.
And it's hard to distinguish between like which one's doing which, but then you can kind of change the pressure a little bit, and then you can start feeling the carcass work. And so it's really critical, I think, especially when you're working on developing that tire to make that tire work ideal. And this is what you get with some of the brands that they just pick a carcass and they stick knobs onto it, as opposed to like, hey, we're going to work on making this carcass work correctly, and we're going to try to get the compound on that. No, what's funny is everybody's learning. It's not funny. Well, it's what everybody's doing. They're learning how the softer rubbers and the more flexible rubbers can sometimes not only last longer but provide better grip. And I think that on the road side, and I know, in talking to flat track guys, how critical they were on. You guys used to soak your tires and stuff to make the rubber break down, right?
Sometimes, yeah. We had, multiple compounds sometimes. So, yeah. And it makes a difference depending on the track surface. If it's like it's loamy like you're out there today, depending on how wet it is, or if it's a blue groove or it's real hard and dry, the compound makes all the difference in the world.
It's, yeah. And I imagine if you're going around a circle in one direction, it's only one side of the tire, the center and one side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to remember too. Also, tire pressure is also spring rate, which is in race cars is really important. But it also applies to motorcycles.
Of course, and that's a lot of times people ask you like what tire pressure do you run and whatever. It's like, well, I kind of have some standards. Like on my dirt bikes, are 12 pounds. So we kind of the bikes I was riding today were set at 12 psi because I haven't started altering the pressures just yet. I'm trying to get a certain feel, a baseline we'd call it, and then like an adventure bikes. For me it's 27. Like they recommend 33 a lot of times, but I'm more off road, so I work on 27 because it gives me the bump compliance off road, but not the wallow when you get onto the street. You can come at you can do some, you can get the tire to slide and it doesn't have that snap that it would get at 33 pounds. It's good and consistent. Right. At 25, 24 pounds. It's going to start sliding.
The sidewall flexes.
Yeah, and so now you get this double snap. So it is, like I said, spring preload. And back to the moose question that we were asked there. It's like, and I think you were asking this, it's like at the point you can get a moose that's so soft that all of a sudden you're riding on kind of a flat tire-ish where there's no sidewall stability. And that bothers me more. It's like, it depends on what you're doing. There's a way when you have a super dead moose and it's great all the time, but boy, you don't want to have to rail around a turn. You're going to pay for it.
If you have a dead moose, is that time for a divorce? I don't know.
I don't have,
because marriage is the number one cause for divorce, and I just thought that was a pertinent question.
What if your moose is just sleeping?
Depends on if you're in Canada. We'll have to ask Guy Perret. Or Guy Giroux, FAHQ Canada.
Yeah.
801. His wife just won the championship in her division.
Hey, do most of the Canadians live underground and have small beady eyes? Just a question.
I don't know, but I think that America's kind of screwed up, so Canada probably thinks they live above a meth lab. I thought of another Incas rally story. Tell me if you remember this one.
You were allowed to look out the window of the spaceship you flew in here.
At the Incas rally, when it was all said and done and we were leaving, remember we were at that beach resort thing? We had the final test, and we're all, okay, let's all go. And we all get in the bus, and it was about a 4-hour ride back.
Oh, that was after I went and did the banger photos with Joe Bonello out on the beach.
Joe Bonello, my cousin.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joey B. Anyhow, we all got on the bus. I think it was about a 4-hour ride back to Lima or wherever we were going. So anyhow, we're all sitting in the bus.
All I remember was that white cloth. I remember getting in the bus in a white cloth.
How's this, though? This true story. Sitting in the bus, we're all sitting there like this. We're ready to take off. They're finishing loading the bus up. I look out, and somebody goes, whose bike is that? And we go like this. It's my XR600. It's just sitting there up against the building all by itself. Like Franco had got it from some bike shop in Lima, and I raced it, and I didn't know if they took it, they didn't take it, but I looked, there's my race bike from the event. So we're like, Franco, we're about to leave. So I'm like, Franco. And he goes over to his buddies in Italian. They get the bike, they drain out all the gas, tip it over upside down, get the gas out. They go to the side of the bus where all the luggage goes, and they pick the thing up, and they start juggling. They get this XR600. They put it under there and shut the door. Vai, andiamo, siete pronti ragazzi, andiamo. We took off. 3/4 of the way, we stopped. Nighttime, middle of nowhere. Met the guy. Somebody got on the phone. The guy from the bike shop. We dropped off the bike. We're out of there. Franco working his magic. This is Franco. I'll massage it. There's a problem. He'd look in and he'd go, like, I got it. Just stuffed it underneath.
Franco-
We were about to leave.
who?
A
You gotta tell
Cherbys.
him- Yeah,
Franco
you gotta tell him
Cherby,
who it is.
sorry.
Have-
Personal friend of Jimmy Lewis's.
Well, no, he's my savior.
No, Franco is our mentor. Franco is the man. There is no greater person in the world for motorcycles than the Capo di Capi, Franco.
So I was dying, like literally dying in Zurat, Mauritania. I just, it was 127 degrees on the day I almost dehydrated and died in the Dakar rally. And they flew me back in the helicopter to the bivouac and stuff. And of course, the rally keeps going, and they always say the real Dakar starts when you're not in it anymore. And all of a sudden, it's gone. Like because I was out and I was kind of screwed up, and I was there with my mechanic Eric Halmerson, and it was like, what do we do now? And they're like, oh, the organization's like, you just take a cab to the coast. And Zurat's really kind of famous because there's a lot of slavery still. And so I'm like, what? One of the cars with like no doors and 3 tires, like that to the coast, because you're going through like an area that's you're still war torn and pretty bad. I'm like, how do I get out of here? Well, Franco was there, and he said he had a villa in Zurat, Mauritania. He was staying someplace because he got driven down in this car that actually had 4 tires on it that drove him down there, and so he came and I, I'm like, how do I get out of here or whatever? And the organization is, I just take a car. And Frank goes, no, I take care of it. And I'm like, whatever. And we go to try to get on the airplane with the VIPs, and they're like, no room.
Right.
Like, you're going to have to take a taxi. Well, what about a plane? Can we take a plane? The next plane lands in 3 weeks. I'm like, 3 weeks? I'll end up being a slave here.
Did you say
Mauritania?
Mauritania?
Mauritania. Zurat,
Yeah, I've been
Mauritania.
there. Really third world, big time Mauritania.
Yeah. And so I think one train runs through there like once a week, and an airplane lands every so often. I'm like, well, so Franco said, don't worry about it. I'll get it taken care of. And I don't know, he disappeared. And we were still like trying to figure it out. Well, somehow he got me and my mechanic a spot on the VIP plane. And it cost us a shit ton. I mean, and this is weird. You ever gotten a plane you had to pay the stewardess cash? Yeah, this is how we.
No, but I had a sore neck once, and
yeah, they took us on the plane, but they took us on the plane, and then we had to pay a lot of money. And it maybe Franco had bought the ticket to get us on the plane, but then they knew that we were just like panicked and screwed, and they took more money from us. But yeah, that was my Franco saved my life. I probably would still be. I'd probably be dead by now. But working in the iron mines in Zurat, Mauritania, slavery still a thing, and I wasn't the right color to not be taken advantage of at that point in that part of the world.
We were in Mauritania when I covered the Dakar Rally, and me and my cameraman, Doug Frankie, we'd fly ahead with the press plane, and me and Dougie and the female producer that we work with, we'd arrange some ride, a taxi, and we'd go into town, and we'd shoot what they call in television B-roll. B-roll is, like a kid kicking a little homemade soccer ball, somebody pushing a donkey cart, stuff in the town. And of course in Mauritania, no offense, third world country, pretty barren visual B-roll. So we go there and we're kind of walking a little bit off the beaten path, and we come around the corner and there's these broken little concrete brick wall, and there was a goat market, like a bunch of guys, goats, and all these guys with these turbans on, and they're buying and selling goats. Well, there's one guy, he's skinning a goat. He's got this dead goat by the neck on a rope, and he's pushing his fist up in the skin, getting the skin away from the body. I'll get off that. So Dougie's trying to take a picture with the camera, and the guy turns and looks at him like in Peru, if you take someone's picture, you got to pay him. You try and take their photograph, you got to give him some money. So this guy turns, he's working on this dead goat. He turns to Dougie and he puts his hand out. So Dougie takes out some coins and drops them in the guy's hand. And the guy goes like this, but it's from the place we were before, so it wasn't the same money. So it didn't mean nothing to him. So he goes.
So it was
like
Moroccan. It was Moroccan money, and he wanted CFA.
Yeah, something. So he gives it back to Dougie. So Dougie takes it and he puts it in his pocket. And I just kind of look at the guy, I look at Dougie, and I go, "You just took money back from a guy who had his fist up a dead goat." and Dougie goes like this. Dougie goes like this with this. It was so Caucasian. He goes like this. He's all, and he gets out the hand sanitizer. He's all, I still have the picture at home. The guy's like, the dead goat's up there having a bad goat. Dead Hair Day.
Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, where you can learn about motorcycle and motorcycle-related products and how to properly desanitize your hand after you stick it up a dead goat's ass.
Well, it wasn't up the ass, but, you know, if you were there,
I don't
damn
know.
moose tubes.
Yeah, mooses. Yeah, so... Yeah,
Are you guys
Franco-
having fun out there?
Franco-
Like Matt said, this is probably the top 3 best show ever. I want to know if you, the fans of TTTTT, Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Did you say 5 of them? Because if you
No,
do, I have to have it...
TTTT, Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. I designed the sticker, bro. I know what it says.
Did we use the Husaberg sticker?
I didn't know where it was.
Oh.
I didn't have it.
Didn't have the assets.
Why doesn't Taco Mini Bikes sponsor this show?
You know, guy? Because we're always looking for
Joe
sponsors.
Ravello.
Yeah, we should talk to that guy. Because
I think he's watching, actually.
we should probably have some Taco mini bikes for when we have pre-Tech Talk Taco Tuesday flat tracking when the temperature cools down here. Because we've had some pretty famous people out here, and I think that those people could probably ride on a Taco mini bike and not upset their sponsors.
Yeah,
When they come out here.
Can we throw a thank you bone to Chris Carter at Motion Pro?
absolutely.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Well, Chris Carter from Motion Pro makes the cables and the specialty tools for the motorcycle industry. Is one of the donors to the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, and actually,
Is he going to be there in July?
one of the first donors? Absolutely, and he's being inducted in the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame.
Him too?
He does a lot for the motorcycle. There's about 60 people that go.
If I get lucky enough to have those 450 words determine my fate on this thing,
See how he derailed poor Chris?
I want to be there because I want to be inducted with Chris, and then there's a lot of other famous people that you talked about tonight that I can't remember right now.
We went to the Sacramento Mile and we went to the Motion Pro facility, and I met Chris, and he said he knew me from before, but I don't remember. And we were talking, and he gave us some T-shirts and hats, and it was all cool, and everybody was there, flying Mike Faria.
Yeah.
And we told him about the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. And
Garth Brow was there.
Garth Brow. And, you know, we're trying to get donations. So Gene paid for the first 1,000 shoes, that the hot shoes we give away. We're trying to get donations. So when those run out, we can, you know, roll it over and get another set. So we mentioned this to Chris. That's fine, whatever. And I'm just standing there, and they're all talking. All of a sudden, I turn around, and 15 minutes later, this lady comes up and hands me an envelope. And I turn, and I'm like, I don't know who she is. She gives me an envelope, and I look. And Chris goes, no, that's a donation. He had snuck off and told one of the women in the office, and they went, and they cut a check. And on the spot, he was one of the first people to donate. So thank you to Chris Carter at Motion Pro. This isn't a plug for his products, because they sell themselves. The facility is massive, and they make good stuff, but was very generous to him, and we're accepting donations on behalf of Gene Woods and the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame so we can continue to do good things. And I'm only going to be serious a little bit. So if you want to help us, get our backs.
And hey,
That's
and
one of the main reasons
there's
why
a link
we're here.
right there, and
this
it really does good things.
This is not uncommon for Chris Carter, by the way.
Right. No, he helps a lot of people.
Yeah, no, and especially when it involves a little bit of flat track. That's that's a good hook for him. But he's, you know, they make great tools, they make great products, and
San Felipe Bob wants to know if I remember Jack Simmons. Of course, him and Bill Manley, and Bill unfortunately just passed away not too long ago. That's Brian's dad, who used to race Speedway with my brother and quite a few people. And Jack also rode Speedway in the early days. Of course, absolutely remember him. One of the fastest guys around. The Norton gang, him and Bill.
So guess who else we're inviting to be in the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, Jimmy? A good, close, personal friend of yours.
Well, that's a real short list.
The first American to ever win the Dakar Rally.
Oh, that Ricky guy?
Ricky Brabeck
That guy that
has
hangs
been
out here
invited.
every once in a while?
Steve Hengevelt,
Oh, I know Steve.
Jeff Fredette,
Right?
Franco Acerbis, Seth Enslow, famed Crusty Demon and Freestyle Madness, known for big jumps. We're mixing it up. We're bringing them all in. Who else? Drop some names. The Collins brothers.
Where do we have
This is a good one. The Collins brothers.
The Collins brothers are one of the most famous and most successful Speedway brother of the entire Speedway history. But they are from Europe. Peter Collins, world champion, MBE, which means member of the British Empire, knighted by the Queen.
Wow.
So I have all 5 Collins brothers have donated their shoe to the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, along with their likeness and everything else. So we have them all there. We have some really, really cool stuff. We have Ivan Major's gold shoe there, 9-time world Speedway champion. We have Kenny Roberts' shoe. Eddie Lawson, you know, it goes on and on.
We're getting Franco Acerbis in this year.
Is he going to come?
I don't know,
Hope
but we're
so.
trying to work it out with Michaela.
Tell
Scott
him
Cox
if he gets into trouble in Vegas and stuff, I can help him out.
Yeah.
I can
Scott
make sure he
Cox
doesn't
is
get
trying to help
inducted
us
into
liaise
like
that
slaving.
with Michaela, which is Franco's daughter.
Yep.
So we're getting Franco in, and who else? Am I forgetting somebody else?
Yeah, there's a pretty big list of
Bill Gussie. Do you know who Bill Gussie is?
He put on this stupid race that I never got to go to, and it pisses me off because it was like an extreme enduro before there was extreme enduro.
So I raced the
Moose Run.
the Moose Run, and
Yeah.
finished, and you didn't.
Oh,
What
Jesus
the
H.
I know somebody.
I don't know
almost
if I'm gonna
forgot.
get your invite list. Second appearance is getting shorter. And
The coolest thing about
shorter.
Bill Gussie is if you're out in the middle of the woods screaming that you hate him, he is so happy. The horrified, terrified screams of
I like
someone
this
who's
guy.
stuck out on his courses. He's just like, I think Jimmy Jarrett or somebody came in one time and they're yelling. They're like, that was the stupidest race. I'll never race this again. And Bill just smiled and goes, hey, thanks for coming. He loves it because he's old school, hardcore, Illinois, single track. When you race the Moose Run, which is now called the race, it's 240-mile loops with lots of log crossings. And
I'm good at law. I want to.
Charlie Williams told me
Can we
one-
go 50 plus class at that thing?
I don't know. Charlie Williams told me one time, this is how sick
I don't race anymore.
This is how sick Bill Gussie is. One time Charlie Williams said they rooted everybody down in this gully. It was like, 10-foot walls, and there were serpentine through the gully, and it was kind of bumpy and leaves and all this. And Charlie goes, it was really stinky. And I'm like, stinky? He goes, yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's where all the pig shit from the
No, there was a turkey farm close by, and they threw all the turkey carcasses in the bottom of the thing, and Bill ran everybody through it. So it smelled. I don't know if anyone out there in TV land, podcast land, whatever,
We're not doing a podcast.
live stream land has ever smelled dead turkeys in a gully, but I say David Beckham's not making a cologne out of that shit anytime soon. David Beckham's new fragrance, turkey neck.
Yeah. Where do we even start to get to turkey necks and goat skinning?
That was a long time ago. That was a couple trips ago. The turkey neck thing started.
Yeah.
Blame it on Matt. It's not Bob's fault.
Yeah.
Bob's over there with this whole defibrillator thing he's making on his own.
I have a dumb question. You say
No such thing.
The Moose Run, does that have anything to do with the Moose products?
It was. I think it. I don't actually know the history of how it got started, but Moose Racing did sponsor it for a long time.
Right.
Maybe that's why they kind of changed the name and whatnot. But I remember when I would see back then, you'd see pictures and they would send them to the magazine or whatever, and I'm like, I want to do that because they'd have a log that I'm like, I can ride over that log.
They called it the log. It was actually pretty big.
It's just big enough to where you think you can do it. On the backside, it's like 6 inches too far. So when you come down, if you don't get traction off your front wheel, your front suspension collapses and you go over the top. How do I know this? I do I practice this and whatever, but I want to do that. I don't race anymore, but I would want to do that. Like, it sounds like a certain kind of fun.
Jeff Fredette won that a lot. Jimmy Jarrett won that a lot. Cato's been there a million times. Good friends with the Gussie family. Monty Gussie, Darcy Gussie, Bill Gussie. The Moose Run is... I was tired at the end big time. I mean, 240-mile laps of pure single track, the logs that he has the log, which is the spectator log you're talking about. There's some other ones that are even bigger out in the middle of nowhere, and you launch your bike up the top of it, falls over. It's kind of like the Mauna Kea 200. Same thing. A lot of log crossings under over before hard enduro. Like back in the day, remember Gilles Classic? Before hard enduro really was hard enduro.
Yeah, nobody really practiced this kind of stuff, and they weren't specializing. It was just like you had to have a certain kind of gnarly to be able to, muscle your way through it. There wasn't a technique. It was just like, I'm going to get my bike and my body through this course. It was like when the weather just turned to crap on an enduro, and it would turn it into something different, and everybody complained. And unfortunately, when I was growing up, like, I had enduros called off. Like, they stopped at a checkpoint, and I'm like, I ain't stopping. Like, this is getting good.
Right. That's when Kevin Hines has a boner.
Yeah.
When it's raining and Malcolm Smith's actually crying at the Saboba Trail ride. That's when Kevin Hines is like, Fuck yeah. New England.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I like Kevin. We got along in that respect.
Kevin Hines, 1987 National Enduro Champion, riding with him in the sand in Cape Cod on mountain bikes, just sucking wind. He's in shape. I'm not. I'm dying. This will segue into a good one. And I go, oh, this sucks. Hines on the brakes. Turns around, he looks at me, he goes, you know the way home. He's the guy. He looked at me and he would say, hey, do you want to go the easy way or the hard way? And I go, I knew there was no answer. I go, I want to go the hard way, faking I meant it. He was going to take it that way anyhow.
Right.
You know Paul Klippa, former Trail Rider
Right.
magazine, right?
Yes.
Me and Paul Klippa were riding with Kevin Hines, riding mountain bikes with Kevin Hines and his dentist, I forget his name. The four of us, tough.
He's a mountain bike guy.
Tough mountain bike ride in
I
the
was
middle of nowhere.
I was in Colorado at some other thing, and they rode
I'm
up on
almost
mountain
done.
bikes.
You can have the floor in 2 seconds.
It's just,
so
I
you
know these
them
guys.
little capsules that like Halloween you bite
S-tabs.
them and it makes blood Halloween. Well, I had a couple of them because I knew I was going riding with Heinz. I taped them under my top tube. So near the end of the ride, there's this pretty technical
That's
hill
a
climb,
good one.
and Heinz pedals right up with his skinny little freaking chicken legs. His calf's about as big as my wrist, and the dentist guy's right behind him. They're in shape. They can ride. Then they're like, kick. And there was water before it, so we got to push our bikes through this deep thing. And then I kind of had to jump off my bike and make it up there. And me and Clipper, and they're up at the top just looking down all freaking high and mighty because they cleaned the section. Ooh, we're going to get laid. So I come up, and I had put the blood capsule in my mouth, but I didn't bite it down yet. And I struggle. I get up to him and I throw my bike down. I go, like Gary Oldman in The Professional. And I go with blood out of my mouth. And Heinz looks at me like this, and the dentist guy goes, that's not real blood.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, it was awesome.
Oh,
I had that little
jeez.
under the top tube. I had that shit planted. Heinz would say, "Oh, go over and jump that tree root next to that tree," and I'd get the pedal in the shins and just vampire the front of my freaking leg. And he's like, "Oh, that's gonna feel better when it stops hurting." But I do love him because Heinz, whiny Heine, we called him sometimes. But Kevin Hines is a man and is the man, and he's gnarly. And he rode November Carson.
Yep, he did November Carson, and
and many other things.
We were racing at the same time, and I was a little bit younger, but I beat him at an enduro in Southern California once. Actually, it was in Kalinga. It wasn't the national enduro, but it was a Kalinga, and he figured I cheated.
Yeah.
and then I heard the whiny Heine part because it wasn't only him; it was his girlfriend at the time.
But it was a term of endearment.
Oh man, they just laid in like I had to have been cheating because I was just like a kid.
Tommy Norton and Kevin Hines are like this. Tommy will tell you, me and Kevin Hines are like this. This is me. This is Hines. You know that we're both really fast, so they got to do that alpha male shit. Tommy the Turtle.
Never seen that. Me and Tommy had our rise to fame on the KTM 125s at the same kind of time. He won Blackwater, and I won some hair scrambles out here. Yeah. But the best Tommy Norton story I have is he didn't really get up into the mountains too much, and he went on I think it was a moose, like a trail ride up in Colorado. They did a media thing or something, and he was struggling with the altitude, really struggling.
Was he on a 125?
Yeah, he was on a 125. Had his Ninja Turtle graphics and the stuff, and he was just really having a hard time with the altitude. He's like, "Hey, I got this headache and stuff like that," and he's like, what do you do? And I'm like, "Oh, you just hyperventilate." I'm like, you just, there's not as much oxygen. This is just Jimmy being Jimmy. They're like, not as much oxygen. So if you just and take more oxygen, like it'll go away. It's like, really? So we stopped because it was lightning, and he stayed up on the top of the ridge, and everybody dove off the ridge because of the lightning and went into the trees. And I rode back up and got him and brought him down. I didn't want to see fried turtle. Yeah. So I brought him down in the trees, and so now we're buds. We're okay. Right. And he's like he's literally like really gnarly headaches and not feeling too good, flu. And I'm like, I just like hyperventilating. And we're all there with the whole group of guys. And so he did it. Fainted.
When Tommy Norton won the Blackwater 100, the only guy to ever win the Blackwater 100 on a 125, the winningest small bore rider in GNCC history, he pulled a number 2 out of the bucket, and he started on the line, the first row with Larry Rossler. And first lap, it's 25 miles, 4 25-mile laps of hell put out by the late Davey Coombs Sr. He flipped over the bars, exploded back with Link Drink. You know, the,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
little
yeah.
plastic. He exploded his Camelback. His
That's the
link
same
drink.
time as Kevco Scubs Timmy belt.
And he
yeah,
wore
yeah,
those.
yeah.
And so he had nothing to drink for the rest of the race, and he lost his front brake. So he was riding the KTM 125, the Blackwater 100, no front brake, nothing to drink. Anyhow, they didn't even know who he was because they're looking for Eddie Lojack, they're looking for Mark Hyde, they're looking for Scott Summers. Something happened to Larry Rossler. He DNF'd. Anyhow, here comes Tommy Norton, comes through, scream, a famous video, right through the barrels, almost cleans everybody out. Then he turns around, brakes locked up, he's pushing his bike. Get the fuck out of my way! He screams. He's white, he's ashen face, look like Casper the Ghost, out of control. And he yells, "Number 2!" And he wins the thing, and he's just like, oh, it was crazy. But Mark Hyde comes through in second, and Mark Hyde rolls through the checkered, and he holds up his finger like would be his 4th win.
Right.
Because he didn't know he didn't win until he found out.
Some guy in a 125 beat him.
Until he got beat. No offense to Mark Hyde, because Mark
Yeah.
Hyde is a stone cold badass, and I'm not trying to throw him in the dirt here, but, you know, he's like, "Nah," and they go, "Hey, nice second place." And he's all, "No. Whoa." Little Carpenter from Privateer Carpenter on a 125 wins the famed Blackwater 100. All hail Tommy Turtle, the vice president of Fuck You.
Yeah, good times. I like that guy. I always like that.
No, he's still gnarly. He's like the Energizer Rabbit. I seen him about 5 years ago. I went to visit him. He just doesn't stop. He's fucking wide open.
That's good. Hey, so a couple things. So remember, we're getting everybody excited about the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame in July.
Nope, January 20th.
July's
January,
6 months away. So
January 28th.
I got a concussion this one time.
Really?
Okay, so in January 28th. That's good, Jerry. Don't worry, you're getting an award before we shut
Salamanca.
this. We're getting this award before this show shuts down. Help Gene do the
Help
shoes.
the motorcycle industry do something great for people that
Yeah.
are in need.
I got an idea. I got a crazy idea that I'm going to talk about because we talked about the van shoes and some other stuff. I got another idea that might be even better, but pretty cool. I'm going to be wearing these around. Can I try to reenact that photo with these shoes on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I just need a photographer
I
or
have
something
a
like that.
mini bike too at my house you can use.
Okay. I gotta come and check out your stall of bikes. How many have you got?
I don't have that many.
Not that many.
Half a dozen, but I got some pretty cool ones.
Cool ones.
I have
Okay.
a Japanese Speedway bike that's the only one in the country.
So my track is almost Speedway size. It's
Yeah,
Costa
could be.
Mesa Speedway.
be.
Is Bad Brad Oxley going to be inducted into?
Yes, he is.
He's already in.
Yeah.
He beat me.
No, he's going in this year.
Oh, another one.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't like
I'll tell you who's going in this year.
Bad Brad to beat me that much.
The best American in history to ride a Speedway bike, Greg Hancock, 4-time world champion's been
Okay.
inducted this year.
Yeah. And so you may start thinking like, okay, flat track and Speedway and stuff and the steel shoe, but you have what you call you put me in the donkeys class?
Yeah.
The donkey class?
No, it's called the Icons. If you don't have a steel shoe, it doesn't mean you're not in the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. The steel shoe is just the symbol of the organization, just because it's something cool and unique.
Right.
So
You want to hear
the Icons? You know, you're in there with people like Malcolm, Steve McQueen, Evel Knievel. It goes on and on. I mean, those are icons. So you're one of the icons. Maybe.
maybe.
If
Allegedly.
you have a shoe.
So, but you know,
Well,
and then
here's-
once a year.
So I was talking to Ken Maley's son,
Mike.
Mike, this at this other event, the Handstands at 100 event I went to earlier, and I didn't recognize him, and I couldn't remember his name, but Mike, because it'd been like 15 years since I'd slid around their little flat track up there in Corona, up in the hills above Corona, and Ken offered to make me a shoe.
Right.
In his older age, because he knew in Brad was. I actually went out there and tested a Speedway bike because I was thinking about trying to do some Speedway because it was right down the hill from Costa Mesa,
Right.
or from where I lived in the fairgrounds, and I wanted to do it. But Ken offered to make me a shoe, and I said no, I don't really want one because in my world it was like good riders don't put their foot down. You know, it was
Right.
like my just being a cocky kid. That was, and we were just sliding around on mini bikes is all we were doing at his place. We weren't real riding. I did try a Speedway bike and they did put a shoe on, but I didn't know how to use it. And there's a skill to that, and it's different. And I've got a chance to wear them a few times. And once you figure it out, and I never did.
Right.
I once you learn to trust that thing, all of a sudden you see the bike start hydroplaning and getting on the rear wheel and doing crazy stuff. But when you talk to really experienced motorcycle riders, we respect the techniques that all the other disciplines have, whether it's road racing or flat track or speedway or motocross or extreme enduro or trials or all this stuff. And that's what's kind of cool is that you've had this Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, which a lot of these, like the Trailblazers, have their thing. You have like Johnny Campbell and Scott Harden starting with their thing, the handstands at 100s, which is like desert racing. They're trying to. You guys have been around for a lot longer. Like that racing was way before.
It's actually the oldest ongoing world championship in motorsports.
Yeah, and so you guys
in Australia.
You guys have been around for a long, long time. You know the flat going around in a circle fast on motorcycles, and then we had these other disciplines evolve from that, and so it's kind of cool that that this is kind of you guys are recognizing your history, celebrating your history. Right. Bringing it forward.
Well, that's just one part and one facet of what the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame is. Like I said, it's just a symbol of the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. It encompasses the entire motorcycle industry, and I'm talking about not just motocross, but motocross mechanics, speedway mechanics.
There's
promoters.
There's journalists.
There's promoters.
Do you think I can get in on journalist cred?
Absolutely. We have
I was
journalists
an editor of a very famous thing. It was called a magazine. Back in the before
online magazine?
No. It was an actually thing that before there was an Instagram. It was before there was an Instagram. We actually printed a magazine.
We have a question. Do you need tickets for January? You need to register. It's an absolutely free event for everybody. If you go to hotshoehof.com, there's a registration key at the very top. You just click it and register, and you're in the event at that point. There's absolutely no charge. Free to attend. We're not there with our hand out. We're there for everybody to come and have a good time. That's the right there.
We just threw the link up in the thing, but it's basically hotshoehof.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you
should we make an announcement about the new president?
As a matter of fact, Gene, that's a great idea. Why don't you tell them who's going to be the Lifetime Achievement Award this year in 2023? A very famous motocrosser, Gene. Passing the verbal torch.
It's my pleasure to let everybody know that Brad Lackey is the Lifetime Achievement Award this year. We only give one award at this whole event, and that's it. So it's really cool. It's a bench race with a little bit of interviews going on, and we interview the really, the people that they want to talk to.
There's a couple of showgirls.
Yeah.
Couple of showgirls.
No, that's not a lie. We have a couple showgirls there, and we have a step and repeat for people to take pictures and.
Brad will be on location.
From being in Brad's presence before and different things like this, he's a good interview. He'll tell a good story.
He's great. Yeah. And we also will be airing the venue that it's in is called Notoriety Theaters, and it actually has a 180 seat regular standard first class movie theater. There's a couple of bars attached, but in the theater we'll be airing On Any Sunday too, which is neat. And then we'll be honoring the people that wrote it, filmed it. The crew, the cast.
Yeah, that's interesting, awesome information and stuff. I'm gonna be there,
and I'm gonna be doing shots of espresso.
Even if I
handcuffed to Gene. What?
Even if I don't get inducted, I'm gonna show up.
You're already inducted though. You keep having this like, am I in yet? It's like prom night. You're in, bro. You're in.
You said after we talked to him tonight that we would decide.
No. I said he's going in.
Oh.
Okay, I made a call on some very
Jerry,
famous people.
I really, really appreciate you and like you for this, and that's why you're going to get a special award in the show. I don't give out many awards, but pretty sure that Jerry out-talked me tonight. Is this true?
I don't think so.
Matt?
Bob, let's ask Bob. Who talked more?
I think it's close.
You just Bob applauded, so you won this, and this is a hard award to get, to out-talk me on my own damn show, but it's called the Jimmy I Rode My Ass Off Award, which you talked your ass off award.
But I do tongue exercises. Watch, here's my warm up.
It doesn't.
That doesn't work on a live feed.
We just watch Jerry's tongue spiral a full 360, but I bet you won't do that when you see what your award is. It's a pair of you've seen me ride before, right? I rode my ass off. So I like to give these to special people that there's holes in that. I hold it up for the camera.
If you pull those high enough up,
Yeah.
you can use them as a kidney
Yep.
belt.
I wore these for a day maybe when I was riding. So that's the front where my little small package goes. But look at the back there. And like, I'm not blowing stuff out the back. Oh, let me
What's
get it
all
up for
the white
camera.
stuff on there?
That's bleach. I try to bleach out the stains.
Yeah, they
You
say,
know,
they say
but
it's
anyways, yeah, that's the back. I don't. Can you shoot it out the back?
That's bleach.
Can you
Okay,
shoot
that sounds like something a prepubescent teenager would tell their mom.
There you go,
That's
Jerry.
bleach, Mom. That looks like a freaking explosion in a yogurt factory that turned it into a planetarium.
If I'm not-
getting
if-
goggles with tear-offs if I'm going to hang out
Yeah.
They
with
look
you.
like successful penetration marks to me, not.
Oh, he's like a boxer. I have to pat off his head. He's sweating.
You-
it's the
Yuck,
struggle, the
yuck.
stress. Adrian!
So you're trying
Don't
to
get it
say
in my
I
eye.
like this
Don't get it in
shit.
my eye.
so you're trained. I received those marks. That's a bad thing. No, the Husaberg Bell forever
Didn't
Salamanca.
even say it tonight.
is going. Yeah, we just did. But anyhow, thank you guys for showing up. I'm
for having us.
super stoked that you guys were able to get abducted by aliens and get dropped off here. We're arranging for you to be dropped back off. I
Good
will-
Mexican food downtown, the El Rey Mexican food
No,
place.
El Jefe.
El Jefe, sorry, El Jefe.
was-
That was something else.
There's some better
El
ones, I
Jefe,
think.
I had chili Colorado. It was awesome. So we're promoting that. Want to thank Chris Carter from Motion Pro. Want to thank Jimmy, Matt, Bob. Bob, please, thank you for not having a heart attack because the whole mouth-to-mouth thing, it's so freaking cliche. You're going to die, bro. You are so going to die.
Hey Jerry, you see my sticker right here on my mic?
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm actually making
run a
the
sticker.
next the hoodies I'm making next up are going to have that big on the back.
Okay. I just
And you're getting a hats coming.
just make my shirts so they show up right here on the show, and then I just like flex them with nobody know. Every once in a while, I'll drop a fuck you, a good
Yep.
team with a bad name
Yep.
item on the show.
I'd like to personally thank one group that is near and dear to my heart, and I would like to thank. Well, I thank Gene for everything he's done for me, but I would like to thank the AMA. Not.
Hey, but wait, Jerry. Jerry, you need to put in how they can get a hold of you when they need graphic arts. How do they get a hold of JB Black?
Hey, just email us
JB
here at the
Black.
show. If you email us here at the show, we will get you in contact with Jerry because he's off. he's. Do you want to take your award with you? Yep, there goes the award. It's oh no.
Not even getting a podium speech.
Hey, so thank you to all of our sponsors who might want to reconsider their contract right now. But thank you to Yamaha, Moto, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC, Trail Tech, Fasst Company, Seat Concepts, and Bulletproof Designs. We are going to do a bulletproof product of the night tonight, which was my Moto-minded little torch headlight guy. This guy right here. But we're going to do that in the next show. So you'll have to wait and see that. We were also going to do the Rooster Endo. Do we have any good bikes?
Is that the stuff
We
that-
did have good bikes.
We had
but-
good bikes?
Yeah, well, no, we'll just.
Okay, if you thought you had a good bike, it may not be as good after Gene sends his bike in. And then what was the other segment that we missed? Where I talk about the Awesome Climb gear that I wore?
Yes.
I wore Awesome Climb socks. One says break and one says go. One says stop and one says go. And I don't know which side I'm supposed to put them on. And it's not because I've ridden like old bikes that had the brake and the thing. I don't know my left from my right. So I'm in school teaching people and I'm saying, the brake. And I'm talking about, oh wait, that's the wrong foot.
Right.
Because you
You're
guys
not in
don't.
a car.
You guys don't use brakes, right?
You're not in a car. Speedway bikes don't have brakes. No.
You know what, Jimmy? We should just start saying like cap 0 or cap 9.
Well, it depends.
180
No,
or-
it depends. At that point, it depends on which direction my
no.
feet are pointing.
Yeah, no. That's what I mean. Like it's gonna. I'll
It would-
change what
it'll-
cap what they're at, but yeah, we'll help you out here.
You're confused.
No,
I
know what I'm
understand
saying.
caps.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you're facing, say you're facing cap 0,
Right.
your right is now cap 90 and your left is cap 270.
If you're a duck.
No, he's right.
Which way's the bathroom?
If you're a duck. Yeah.
Which way's the restroom?
So with that question, we're gonna end the show. Thank you, Gene.
Thank you.
Really
Jimmy.
appreciate it. And we will see you at the thing. If you can, if
January 28th, Hot Shoe Hall of Fame.
I will slip you a couple extra bucks, and
problem.
I might be able to get in. So, with everybody,
T-shirt and Levi's only. You don't come dressed up.
so what we say at the end of the show is we will